What is going on, everybody? Coming to you live and not out of town.
Yeah.
Here in Tampa. The UFC is here in Tampa. I don't have to fly anywhere. Let's get right to it. I'm not used to starting the show right off. Dustin, Jacoby, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show. It's good to be back.
We've had you on before. We've talked about a lot of things. We were just talking off the air, which I don't normally like to do because I like it to be free and flow. But before I forget, dementia's awful. You said that you're now a Buffalo Bills fan.
Yeah, well, I am a diehard Cowboys fan lifelong, but this year I'd say I've switched over to the Bills. I love Josh Allen. I love the red, white, and blue. I love the ruggedness of the organization and everything about it.
So my question is, and Billy Q just walked by, is the indoctrination you have to go through a table to be an official Bills fan? You know about that, right?
I do not.
Oh, that's their thing.
Yeah.
They go
jump through the
they
table.
go through tables.
Yeah, like wrestling.
Let's start with this one.
It's pretty solid. That was a good initiation.
You might not want to do this one. So we might have to set that up. Have you been up in Buffalo? Have you been there?
No, never been.
All right, so I'll talk to Billy. He's on next. We'll get that all set up for you. Now, I don't know who's going to be big enough and strong enough to literally pick you up and throw you through the table, but
I'm sure Billy could do it.
Well, we'll ask him.
We'll find out. I guess we'll find out. Stay tuned. Hour 3.
Have you been to the Tampa area before?
Yeah, a little bit. I haven't spent much time here. I'm a little bit south of here, Venice, Sarasota, Siesta Key Beach areas where I spend the majority of my time when I'm here.
Have you done the shark tooth hunting?
No.
You know about that? You don't know? All right, so Venice Beach is the number one place in the world for shark teeth hunting.
Okay.
Now, it's still, we went down there about a year ago, but we grew up there. We were not very well off, so we would always drive down to Venice and spend the day picking shark's teeth. The problem with that, and may my dad rest in peace, is he got to keep them all. We would spend all day in the sun picking all these shark's teeth from miniatures to huge, and they would always go into his office. Yeah, the child labor laws.
And for clarity, it's Venice Beach, Florida, not Venice Beach,
Florida.
California,
Right.
the mecca of Gold's Gym, of bodybuilding, of Arnold. So,
Right.
when you say Venice Beach, people might go the wrong coast.
Did you ever come across a shark?
No.
Okay.
No. Which is really weird.
I know. You would think if you're going to look for shark teeth, there's got to be a shark in there.
But you might want to go check it out. It is fun, and you will find some. They may not be as big as they used to be, but it's somehow the tides, they all come to that location.
Okay, well, in between a couple rounds of golf here and there, I'll have to go check it out.
Told you I got to hook you up with Steve Monroe as well.
So speaking of location, you come from a fight city. The UFC originated in Denver. We think of Vegas as a fight capital, Atlantic City, but Tampa. What's the reputation outside of Tampa? Because I feel like as a Tamponian, is that what we are, Randy? Tamponians, whatever we are, we get the big fights. We get Jake Paul here. We get the UFC here. We get bare knuckle. So what is Tampa's reputation outside of Tampa?
I think it's just a beautiful place to be. It's Florida. Everybody loves Florida. I think you guys have had a ton of people move here since COVID, right? Like
for sure,
number of people.
Yep.
I think it's just the sunshine state, man. It's beautiful. It's warm. Good scene. Good views.
You will get the answer to that question Saturday night.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I can't,
sold out.
I can't divulge it, but there is an announcement that's coming Saturday night that will blow that answer away.
Wow.
Fight announcement?
There's an announcement coming Saturday night.
Okay.
Which will tell you.
Does it have anything to do with Colby Covington?
I know nothing other than no, it has nothing to do with Colby.
Okay.
But it is an announcement that will answer your question.
Okay. Tampa's on the map, baby.
So we'll leave it
Jake
at that.
Paul coming back?
Well, Jake's definitely, going to be fighting again. What do you think of that whole thing?
I wasn't a big fan at first. Jake Paul is growing on me. The guy's legit. He has the resources to be great. He puts in the time and he's committed. And it's become much more than just a YouTube boxer, man. The guy is definitely legit. I would love to have that fight. I would love to box that guy.
Sure.
I've said from the very beginning, I fought Glory Kickboxing, so I would fight multiple times in the night, 2 times a night, 3 times a night. I've done it 6 different times.
Wow.
4 times I've won the whole thing.
Wow.
I said I would fight Logan and Jake in the same night. Set up a tournament style. And, man, but I tell you what, that's got to happen sooner than later because Jake just continues to get better and he's got youth on his side.
Right.
Man, and the Mike Tyson fight, I just thought that I wasn't a fan of that. I knew that was going to go exactly how it went.
Sure.
Although I will, again, another thing Jake Paul grew on me, I'll give him respect. He didn't go for the kill. I think that he could have put Tyson away, and he chose not to, which showed a lot of respect to Tyson.
Yeah.
You know, and the way he's doing it, and yes, he even lives in this hotel. I call it the Ric Flair. You know, people would pay money, even though they still knew it was scripted. They would pay money to watch Ric Flair in hopes he would lose. And that's what's going on with Jake Paul. People pay money to watch him lose.
Yeah, 100%. Although I will say I don't think it's scripted.
No, that's not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, I was saying about the Ric Flair.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
I don't. Well, it's not scripted, but there are things in the contract that you can and can't do. And it's, you know.
Yeah.
But if that's the contract, that's the contract.
Yeah, I agree, man. The guy's a money printing machine. More power to him.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that he
me
found
too.
a way. And people rip him that he handpicks. So would you.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
If you could make $40 million and you could fight Jake Paul or me, who would you fight?
You know who I'm taking.
Right? So they hate him because he handpicks.
Right.
It's just smart business.
It is, man. It's real smart business.
And if you remember years ago, bare knuckle boxing offered a $20 million purse to Mike Tyson and he turned it down, you know, and so Jake was able to get the job done when we thought we'd never, ever see the iconic legend himself, Iron Mike, back inside of a boxing event. So Jake has that kind of draw and appeal that he got a legend like Mike to toe the line. It's pretty cool, man.
Let's talk about Saturday night back in the Octagon here in our hometown, Tampa.
My hometown. You're on the other side of the bridge, bro.
No,
like you guys got the Rays and like
true.
convertible stadiums
That's
and
true.
stuff.
I don't know if you know this, but Ellis County and Hillsborough County do not like each other.
Okay.
It's like St.
New to
Paul.
the rivalry.
Yeah.
No, you're right. So I'm across the bridge.
Yeah. You're a foreigner. Or what do they call those people? Immigrant. You're an immigrant.
Legal.
We don't know. Let me see your ID.
Oh, no, I'm legal. I know about Ellis Island. Talk about your opponent. Talk about, Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night's going to be a fun night in the Octagon, man. I got Vitor Petrino, a young up-and-coming kid who's super tough. I think he's just turned 27, coming off his first loss, which is big in this matchup because I've been there before, man. The first time I lost, it really throws you off. Anytime you lose. When I was on my 7-fight unbeaten streak, a year or so ago, and I had that first loss, it really shook my confidence. And I had already lost before, but a loss really shakes you up. And he's coming off his first loss, so I think that's definitely an advantage leaning towards me. But it's going to be a super fun fight, man. He's tough. He comes out. He's real aggressive. And he's got youth on his side. So I'm looking forward to the matchup.
How quickly can you move on from a fight, win or lose? You want to move on either way, but is one take longer or?
That's a good question. I have always ran by the short-term memory, bulletproof confidence. I was a quarterback in college in our quarterback room. That's what we said, short-term memory, bulletproof confidence. You go out there one possession, it doesn't go your way, you throw a pick. Well, you got to get out there and get your team rallied, get the troops rallied, and go out there and get another swing at it. The one fight that has really kind of just stuck with me and really bugged me is the Khalil Roundtree fight. It's a fight that I lost a split decision in October 2022. And if you go look at the 15 of the 16 journalists that covered that fight had me winning. I think I was minus 750 going to the judge's decision on DraftKings and ended up losing that fight. So that one was a little bit harder to get over. And, to be quite honest, I'm not fully over that. To watch him go on and get a title shot, fight Alex Pereira. But I have no ill will towards him. He's a great warrior. He's a great fighter. But each fight is different. And usually I stick to the short-term memory, bulletproof confidence.
I think it's such an issue with judging, and I'm a licensed judge in Florida. There's so many different angles. Night? No, I'm not judging, but I will be there. To be honest, and I am such a professional, I believe, that if I was judging, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
man. I think judges should be judging, not cage side. They should not even. They should be in a soundproof room watching on a screen with no volume.
Sure.
I think that they get persuaded by the crowd too often. They get caught up in the
and training and the trainers.
Yeah,
there's a reason that they would yell nice, and they're friends of mine that did those nice yelling. 100%. Yeah, it's to get in the judges.
Manipulating the judges. Yeah, and everybody does that. That's why I think that you can't get away from that. That's why I think that you need to take the judges away from that. Put them in a soundproof room, no volume, watch the fight, no phone. They're being recorded the entire time they're watching this.
And held accountable.
Yes. Yeah.
We can't talk to the judges.
Yeah, man, they're getting their full paycheck every single night. They're judging fights, and that's another thing with the fighters. You get money to show up, and you get money to win. And when you have a fight like me and Khalil Roundtree, where I'm minus 750 on DraftKings, that's real money. That is follow the money. The money doesn't lie. And for him to win that fight, I mean, it's just and me go home with half my purse.
Right.
And it's a tough pill to swallow.
Well, we just saw it happen this past weekend with Gagne and Volkov. And Dana was audible about, hey, you really got screwed. So in the comment section,
I did as well.
Well, I think everybody unanimously sees it that way. But except the three judges at ringside. But I did see in the comments one of the most, I thought, well thought arguments on how to fix the judging issue. And they suggested 4 or 8 judges at the octagon and a tiebreaker upstairs that didn't see the fight, that if it goes to a 4-4 or a 2-2, if the humans at the cage side couldn't get it right, the tiebreaker is stats only as far as significant strikes landed and punches thrown. They don't see the fight in real life. They only get the statistics, and they're the tiebreaker.
And then if it's still a tie, they play a game of Uno.
Well, the shootouts. You do one off, a slap, power slap.
What's up with this new AI scoring? Is everything going to go AI scoring?
Probably at some point.
For sure. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on points being taken away? Like, I hate warnings. And the only thing I hate more than warnings are strong warnings. What is
stern warnings?
Well, there's a strong.
Yeah, then a stern, right.
Well, I think, depending on the situation, I think a warning is warranted. If a guy's grabbing the cage, you're like, hey, you have to warn him right there. No grabbing the cage. And then if he does it again, the rules are...
That's the stern one. Then you get the stern one after you've already gotten the warning.
That's true. I think there needs to be you get one warning, and if you do it again, you get the point taken away.
I disagree only in the point that I think even if it's a mistake, I mean, there has to be a penalty. There has to be...
You're taking points right away.
I would. I absolutely would. I absolutely... Because some fighters...
fighters know beforehand. You have a meeting with
exactly.
the third guy in the octagon.
And I'm not saying that fighters do anything on purpose, but if you know you're going to get a warning, use your warning up.
Yeah, I can see that.
And as a judge, it drives me crazy, but I can't do anything unless the ref takes the point, so I'm judging. What can we expect? I know that you've got to go do some things and rest up. So, we could keep you on for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having me here. You can expect fireworks. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Styles make the fight, and I think Vitor Petrino and Dustin Jacoby is going to be an excellent fight for the fans, and it's going to be an exciting fight, no doubt.
Awesome. We still have a pair of tickets to give away. All you have to do is go to the knockoutradio.com website and register, and then we'll have the drawing tomorrow. Dustin, thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go hit a break. Coming to you live from Tampa, not Las Vegas, not
home. Home sweet home.
Across the bridge from home, but we'll be right back. All right, we are back coming to you live from the hotel.
Home.
Yeah, but I don't want to say the hotel.
Okay, yeah, you don't want a mob of people.
Yeah, it's not my place to do it. If the UFC does it, if whatever is fine. Billy Q, what's up?
Randy, Matt, great to have you. Great to be here.
Yeah, we're on your show. This is your show now. Yeah, we're in your hometown.
I knew when the UFC was coming to Tampa. I figured we'd have a nice chat. I had a great chance talking to you guys a couple of weeks ago. And it's just been a great process, and it's just awesome being here now, the co-main event. So super exciting, man.
What's that like, co-main in your town? I mean, you run this place. We know that. Your coaching staff, your team, and everything. That's Tampa.
Yep. Yeah, it feels like I'm home. Like after this, I'm probably going to drive back to my house, which is about 15 minutes away or less, and get this weight cut process, continuing and just going through the motions, man. And this is my 11th UFC fight. So it just feels really comfortable to be here. But at the end of the day, I know what I have to do on Saturday, and that's to go out there and deliver a great performance.
Before I forget, Dustin Jacoby just walked out. He said he's a huge Cowboy fan, but he's kind of mingled over to the Buffalo Bills. And I said, you do know to be indoctrinated, you have to go through a table. Yeah. And he wants you to put him through the table?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's a big boy.
I said that to him. It's like, I think Billy can do it.
Yeah, if he lets me pick him up, I think I can handle that. That's awesome. Dustin's a great guy. I've known him for a while now. We've shared a card, at least 2 or 3 cards that we've been on together. He's met my family. They're all big Dustin Jacoby fans. So yeah, he's a good dude. He could be Bill's Mafia if he wants. And so yeah, we'll invite him on over, and we can go through a table together if he wants.
How do you earn that, especially when you've been a fan of another team so long? I mean, I hate the word bandwagon.
Yeah.
Obviously it takes the team you like not doing well, or a player, leaving that team to go somewhere else. As a Buffalo Bill fan, I know Buccaneer fans, they don't necessarily like when people come over.
Yeah.
But how do you continue the fan base if you don't let new fans come?
Well, and that's something that I've dealt with, especially for this fight, because we wanted to do a lot of extra stuff and do stuff with the Buccaneers, which the Buccaneers have actually invited me out. They got me a jersey and all that stuff. But I told them from day one, I'm like, listen, I grew up a Bills fan. I'm not switching teams. You know what I mean? And I do feel like you have one team. That's the Bills for me because that's where I grew up. I love the Buccaneers. That I joke that they're my second favorite team.
Sure.
I live 2 minutes away from the stadium there. But yeah, for me, it's you should stick with the team that you grew up. Either you grew up watching. Like for me, growing up in Buffalo, especially as a kid, them going to and losing all those Super Bowls, and now they've had a lot of success, but they still haven't won the Super Bowl. So for me, that's one of the things in the back of my mind. That's going to be a huge moment for the city and for me and my family, if and when they go and do that. So yeah, that's I'm Bills fan until I die, but at the same time, I do love the Bucs and appreciate what they do.
How painful would it be if the Bills get there and lose to Detroit? They get there again.
That's honestly there. It would just be par for the course.
Yeah,
because
it's expected.
That's what we. Yeah,
that's a standard.
City. And they're our number one team. All we have is the Bills and the Sabres in Buffalo. We don't have an NBA team, and the Sabres have been pretty terrible too. But the Bills, they're more I think they're a more popular team. For me, they're more popular. I grew up watching hockey too. But yeah, that would just be a standard thing. But hopefully, if it's not this year or next year, it's hopefully down the road.
Needs to be soon.
They finally get one.
Yeah.
So Dustin's from Denver. Obviously, UFC originated in Denver. So big fight city, Vegas, Atlantic City, you could name them.
Yep.
But Tampa seems, I don't know about how you feel on the road, but it seems like Tampa's kind of getting on the map as being a fight community with the Jake Paul fighting here and big attractions like UFC coming, bare knuckle. So how does it feel to you on the road when you tell people you fight out of Tampa? How are you received with that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's. I think we have a lot of big things happening here. Obviously, as you guys know, the city's absolutely beautiful. Yesterday, people couldn't believe how nice it was here. It's definitely a really cool place to come and visit because it's not a huge city where you're it's not overwhelming. I don't really know if there's any tourist traps here. But I just think it's just a really cool city. And at my team, Gracie Pack, the gym that I own now, we got a lot of young up-and-coming guys who've done some pretty good things. I know the CFFC continues to come here and give us a new platform to fight, which is on UFC Fight Pass. So, yeah, I think I've said this for the last couple of years that I think in the next few years, especially when I'm done and retired, there's going to be a big group of fighters that are going to eventually get to this point too.
Talk about your opponent, Cub Swanson, OG, been in the sport a long time. How do you block out all of that, and especially after what happened last Saturday? 3 older veterans fought, didn't do very well.
Yeah.
Do you have to block all that out? This fight's totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know he's 41 years old now. I just turned 36, so I'm not a spring chicken either. He's been in just wars, wars on wars on wars. And but what I've been doing is watching his last few fights against Andre Fili, against Min Hakim, against Martinez, some of his more recent fights. And he doesn't look 41. He looks like he's still got that pep in his step. He still throws very hard punches. He's got good combos, good wrestling. So I'm not really considering. To me, it's not. I'm fighting this legendary guy that's been there and done that, and he's 41 now. I'm fighting a really good fighter that does have that experience and who hasn't really let off the gas much. You know what I mean? He looks very similar to how he looks when he was in the top 5 of the division.
Feeling real old though.
Yeah, you are.
Billy just said that
36.
He's kind of old at 36.
Do you remember 36, Randy?
In the fight game.
Honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't remember 30. I've been married longer than you've been alive.
Do you remember? Do you remember Prohibition? The Civil War.
Right. How do you normally relax, and is it the same that it'll be this week? Or are you not able to relax?
It's a combination. All of us, all fighters cut a lot of weight, so I got the whole weight cutting process. It was cool. Last night I slept at my house. I slept next to my wife, which was awesome. So that's a cool part of it. But I'm not letting it distract me. I'm not letting it. I'm not losing any focus. Like I'm eating all the food I'm supposed to eat. I'm not eating anything extra. But just sleeping in your own bed's always cool. We'll see. I might end up sleeping here tonight. It's kind of up in the air right now with what kind of media obligations I have the rest of the day. But it's cool to be home. Like I got to play with my kids this morning, which is something I never get to do fight week.
With you being the Tampa guy, I'm curious because I'm the one from day one that's been pushing MMA and the UFC in the Tampa area, Florida, across the country. What other and no other media, no other radio, TV would do this? I'm curious. What other media has reached out to you or have you talked to while you've been here, to help promote you and the sport that we love?
Yeah. So my boy Kevin Lewis, he always reaches out to me. I just saw him downstairs. He's a big, he's been following me and promoting me for a while now. So he's one of the good guys. And of course I talked to you guys, and then there's been just some of the media guys that I know. I know the guys at bjpen.com, my guy Cole, and those guys, all reached out before the fight. But yeah, I don't know what other local guys are down there now, but it's cool to see that, if you would have told me, 10 years ago that the president of the United States would be at a UFC show, or when I started 15 years ago,
right.
The sport has grown so much, and it's just really cool to be a part of.
There will be, I've been told, a very interesting announcement on Saturday. That's all I can really say regarding the Tampa Bay area. So I'm pretty excited about that as we continue to push, MMA. Talk about your gym. Talk about the guys that you're training with and you train and you represent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I bought the gym, Gracie Pack. I trained at Matt Arroyo's Gracie Tampa South most of my career from 2010 to this day. I still go back and forth. But the guys at Gracie Pack have kind of brought themselves around me. We got Blake Smith, who's the CFFC champion. I got Will Rentz, who I basically brought up from day one. He'll be in my corner. He's 4-2 right now, but his 2 losses were last minute opponent change, and then his first one, he went into the fight with a broken leg, which he didn't even realize it. He's just such a tough dude. He had a fracture in his leg going into the fight, but that's how tough he is. So Will Rentz, Blake Smith are the next up and coming guys. We had Shane Burgos actually join our team, who we had a crazy fight at Madison Square Garden. Having him coaching on Mondays, and he'll be in my corner as well. Bringing all those guys together, there's a bunch of young up-and-coming guys that are super hungry that I'm leading the way, and then we got another group of guys that are next up, and there's guys that you'll see in the next few years for sure. What
kind of gym is it? Because some fight gyms are only for fighters. Some gym, they have the kid programs. Yep. They have, us old fat people that just want to do it because it's fun. Where's yours fall into that?
Yeah, we have a big mix of it. So when I first took over, it was mostly a kids program. We have an outstanding kids program from 3 years old all the way to teenagers, all the way to our adult program. They have a bunch of the dads train there as well on the jiu-jitsu side, and then I brought over the fight team. So it's a little bit of everything. We still have that identity as we have a great, outstanding kids program, but now we also have this killer fight team too. Cool. And I make sure they keep it PG with the kids, and then they have their own separate time to train. We train a little bit after the kids. After the kids leave, then it turns into more like that fighter gym that you're used to. But we're doing a little bit of everything right now.
Very cool.
So speaking of the nutrition side, obviously the PI out in Vegas is a big draw for fighters to move to Vegas, live close so they can take advantage of all the resources. But what are you guys doing locally as far as incorporating what Dana White's protocols and Gary Brecka's? Are you guys incorporating the biohacking and nutrition into your fight camps, or what's different from the PI versus here?
Yeah. So I use the PI, because I live in Tampa, so it would be impossible for me to, go to the PI every day and get massages and get all their nutrition. I've always liked to study nutrition just so I didn't always need someone, to tell me what to eat every time. So I had a really good training camp with eating, 4 or 5 times a day, really healthy, smaller meals. Now I'm doing like the water loading, and I'm letting the PI, fuel me this week. With the Gary Brecka stuff, I do a lot of sauna and cold plunging. Pretty much every day I do a cold plunge. I was able to buy my own. I have my own sauna and my cold plunge at my house now.
Nice.
Which is really cool. This training camp, I went to Vitality Wellness in St.
Sure.
Pete. They're helping me out with this camp. I was able to do some hyperbaric chambers. So I was doing that kind of stuff. I did, the cryotherapy, my, stretching every day. And just this camp, I just made sure I did everything right. A lot of stuff I didn't want to do. It's like you had a long day training. The last thing you want to do is get in freezing cold water.
No doubt.
But I just made myself do it. And, the hydrogen water, that's something I've always used for the last few years now. And so, yeah, again, man, I just do everything I can do to perform at my highest level on Saturday night.
Do you think the fight fans know what goes into being a pro fighter? Do you think they know the recovery, the commitment, the sourcing, like they are, and they don't give you the respect that you deserve?
In any sport.
In any, well, yeah,
sport, but any sport.
And that's, I get it, man. Like if I wasn't doing this, we're obsessed with the sports. We get it. Like fight week, it's all, you're cutting weight, you're doing interviews when you're cutting weight, you're doing all this, doing extra obligations. But I get it. Like I still have people DMing me, asking me for tickets, or like asking to hang out. I'm like, dude, I don't have time to do anything. Like I'm cutting weight, I'm working out, I'm doing media, I'm living that life. So I get it that most people are never going to understand it, but it is what it is. And they don't really have to. It's my job as the fighter to do everything I got to do during fight week and go out there and perform on Saturday.
So I made a stupid proposition, my first one I've ever done. Randy knows at one time. But I said that media guys should always go through a fight camp physically so they can feel what it feels like to be a pro fighter. Not that they have to use it, but at least before you criticize or talk about a fighter not making weight or a fighter and their injuries or overcoming social issues or external circumstances, I think media guys should go through the fire, man. Do a full fight camp.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think just the weight cutting is the hardest part. The part and people always ask like, "Oh man, you lost 15 pounds in 1 week. Like, how'd you do it?" I'm like, "You have to do it. Like, I don't have a choice." But yeah, I that would be cool. It was funny. We were just walking through the hotel, and we're seeing everyone eating all like this pasta and bread and chicken. I'm like, "Oh my god." So it adds a little bit more fuel to the fire and motivation to get on weight and get this over with.
Do you love what you do as much today as you did when you first started?
It's a good question. Sometimes I like joke in my head. I'm like, why am I doing this? Still? Why am I doing this? But the answer is, yeah, man. Like I live for these. Like just doing like the photos and the interviews and talking about fighting a legend and fighting the co-main event of your hometown. It's stuff that as a kid I dreamed of. I dreamed of living in these big moments, fighting in a sold out arena that a lot of people are there to see you, see me. So yeah, I always dreamed, when I would fight for a few $100, I would be like, man, I can't wait till I'm doing this stuff. And now that I'm here, it's like, it's almost surreal and I don't want to take it for granted. So to answer your question, yeah, I love it. I'm obsessed with it still. And I know I got a handful of fights left. So I'm going to make the most of each one.
Give me your thoughts on, we just talked to Dustin about the same thing. As a judge here in Florida, this drives me crazy. I hate warnings. And the only thing I hate more than a warning is, what is it, a stern warning, a harsh warning? What is all that? If a foul, you grab the fence, that it's a point.
Yep.
And it just drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Because if my opponent does it, I think you should get involved. But if I do it, it is what it is. Because sometimes you do get caught up in those moments. I know the other day I was sparring, and I was on like the 5th round, and we're banging with each other, and a guy grabbed me to pick me up, and right away I kind of grabbed towards the cage. So sometimes you do it without, sometimes it's just your natural reaction to stuff like that. I do agree with. If someone's about to pick you up and you grab the cage and you yank it and you end up on top of them, that you need to either take a point or switch positions or do something. Sometimes things are clearly accidents that don't really change how the fight's going to play out. I can see a warning for that. But a lot of times, again, sometimes you have to be in that position to realize, like, when you're getting punched in the face and the crowd's watching you, you're exhausted. Sometimes things happen that it's easy to sit on the sidelines and say, oh man, I can't believe you did that. While you're in there, it's a little bit different.
Sure.
So I think every instance is different. Every play could be different. But I do agree that you got to be careful because I've been in situations where I'm like, this could change the fight. And instead they got a warning where, if you get hit in the nuts super hard, it's going to change the fight.
Exactly.
It's going to change the fight. So you got to kind of judge it by that.
You also look at the John Jones loss and the Abdul no contest, which was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So how do you determine everything should be consistent? Because it's changed a lot of things. And I'll disagree, and I love Dana to death. A loss is a loss. You can't go back in time and say, well, just because now it's legal, it was illegal then.
Yeah.
And it's affected many. Some of the newer, younger people are not going to realize what that loss was. Mm-hmm. They're just going to see a loss on the record.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I just want to say this before the things end. It's like, you're a local dude. We all know that a gym is only as good as its captain, as its leader, its sensei. But I have, as a father of 2 young daughters that believes jiu-jitsu is most practical self-defense. I think you run a top-notch school, man. I would trust you with my entire family. People, Tampa area, check out your gym, check you out.
Give the info.
It's the best.
Yeah, Gracie Pack. It's right here. It's right here in Carrollwood. If you want to set an appointment, just give us a call or DM us on Instagram. Super easy. Like I said, luckily I have a world class staff. They're running things this week while I'm gone. They keep sending me pictures and end of day reports and stuff like that. So I'm just very lucky to have a really good crew around me, and I think we're going to take things to the next level these next couple of years.
Typically, I give thank you gifts. I know you were just on, so those packages are coming. But this is one of my new sponsors. It's called Fantasy Pets. They're 3D digital pets. Okay. So 1 or 2. How many children do you have?
I got 2 little boys.
Okay, so we're going to send you 2 of these. So awesome. Each one of them is going to get one of these.
My son will absolutely love these things. They're cool looking. Wow, dude, he will flip out when these come.
So they'll be in the mail sometime next week. As really always, cool. Bill, thank you for your time. So much, let's go hit a break. Coming to you live from a hotel here in Tampa as the UFC is in our neck of the woods for once. We'll be right back.
All right, boys.
Photo real quick for the banner.
Hi, we are back coming to you live from a undisclosed location.
Good job.
Well, it's not my place to say where it is.
I had to wear sunglasses so no one would recognize me.
A lot of times you get in trouble.
I do get in trouble.
Oh no, you always
when the lights are on and the show's ready to go. Like I come alive, and you just never know what's going to happen.
I'm excited about the real weigh-ins.
Okay,
I'm bringing a guest.
Yeah,
I don't bring guests.
You don't.
I don't.
Who are you bringing?
I'm bringing a guest to the real weigh-in.
When is the real weigh-in?
Friday.
Okay. Can I come?
No.
Why? Just let me use their credential on your arm. Like, let me get one of those UFC bracelets.
Yeah, no.
How come I didn't get a bracelet?
Well, because you're not John Gruden.
Oh, well, Chucky's a big deal around here.
Yep. So John's coming to the fights. John's family's coming to the fights. Deuce is coming.
Do you know he's having an open tryout Saturday? He's looking for Gruden's grinders,
yep.
Looking for like somebody passionate to join him in the locker room. I think I'm that guy, Randy.
Yeah, I've already told him no.
Put me in, coach. I can connect to the players on a different level. I can bring value to the team. Like I'm a Gruden grinder all day.
Yeah, we've already talked about it.
Listen, he's as big in Tampa as I was in St. Pete. Like, I was just on the wrong side of the bridge. I built my reputation in the wrong place. But now I'm here. I'm home.
Just talk among yourselves. I'm texting John.
Yeah, text John. Tell him you found a Gruden grinder. I'm right here. He sits here. Let's go. Next level.
Well, he did something over the weekend. I think it was Sunday. Him and your favorite guy, Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
I guess they did some calls and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, Portnoy's got some interesting stuff going on. He got fights with Rogan and stuff. Like he's a disturber. I like him. I like his energy.
Bill Belichick may go to college.
College? Why?
I don't understand. I don't know.
He's not going to have control at the college level either. The NIL changes you. The social media. These kids aren't going to listen to authority and drill sergeant and procedures and that old coaching method of drill sergeant yelling at these kids in their dreams. That stuff's last century. You're going to have to evolve as a coach. You got to motivate these kids with different ways. Or you're not going to get them to come out.
Right.
You've got to do something.
See Bobby Knight in college now? Could you see that? It ain't going to happen.
No, but if he would have kept winning back then, they would have never let go of him.
Well, that's true.
But you start losing first round of the NIL, it's an embarrassment to the boosters. There, he was gone. But he could have choked kids all the way to the championship game.
Hey, whatever it takes.
But the standards change. Now it's like, you can't do those things. You can't lead by that kind of leadership.
You can't, but you should be able to. I think you're weak if you can't put up with that.
Yeah, but man,
I guarantee
the world is so different now. It doesn't work.
It is different. And I'm not saying you're weak. I'm going to here in a second.
Okay.
And I know you're going to get violent.
Pretty strong.
But I'm telling you.
I'm throwing you to this table.
I know you fairly well.
Yeah.
I can't see you going through boot camp. I just don't see you doing it.
Do you know what kind of discipline I have?
No.
I'm a pro.
None.
I'm not a pro. The difference between amateur and a pro is like I had the discipline. I could have done anything I wanted in bodybuilding or any discipline or sport I chose.
It's not discipline.
It's all mental.
It is all mental.
It's all mental.
And you're very mental. I can't see you being able to put up with how they belittle, how they scream, how they this, how they that. I can see you talking back.
Yeah. I challenge them. Yeah, I let them know.
Yeah.
I let them know.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Day two? You think day two he's out?
Oh, yeah. I would get beaten. I mean, for sure. I mean, of course I would. I mean, because I wouldn't conform to like the rules set.
Remember A Few Good Men?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, movies, like music, there are some movies that that are real.
They're realistic.
Okay, it's realistic.
Code Reds.
Code Reds.
Code Reds.
Do you believe there's such a thing as a Code Red?
Absolutely, there is.
It's not called Code Red.
Yeah, but there's secret codes of standards.
Back when I went to boot camp, it wasn't a secret. They didn't use a Code Red. They just told us, "You take care of this tonight at midnight."
Yeah.
Okay. Again, try having that done now.
Yeah.
A guy kept screwing up, kept getting us, in trouble. Blah 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 blah. And at midnight.
But I went through the college hazing days. I mean, I've been on rugby teams. I've done the crazy things to show alliances. I never joined a gang. That's the only thing I wish I would have done younger. I just never really had a cool gang to join. There wasn't really much options in Evansville, Indiana. It was, the pickings were slim. You know what I mean, Randy?
Yeah, I could see your gang.
But yeah, I mean, fit in the gangs, or I don't know. I don't know what gang I would join. What gang would you join? Would you be like a Hell's Angel or like a Crip? Would you be like what would you do? Who would you vibe with?
Myself. I'm my favorite gang. That's the most loyal person I can find.
Yourself?
Myself.
Okay.
All
right.
God, I almost hate to say this. You're close.
Yeah? I'm in the gang?
You're not in the circle.
Come on, let me be in the gang. Let me be in the Harris gang.
No, you're not in that circle yet. That takes a long time.
Our gang is all bad, though.
No.
I mean, they create a family environment.
Gang is a family. And again, gangs don't necessarily have to be bad. It doesn't have to be, you're always thinking the
Warriors were a gang. Your favorite gang out of Brooklyn?
Fabiano just walked by. We should have grabbed him.
Yeah.
That's when we had George Gagelle on, and I asked him the difference between translator and interpreter. I don't remember what he said. So Fabiano is one of those. He's the guy that does all the Brazilians, all good dude. Big football fan.
Okay. Soccer? Because if he knows Portuguese fluently, chances are his football fame or flair or love would be soccer.
I honestly think that he likes American football more than European football.
Got it.
I could be wrong, but we haven't really talked soccer.
Yeah, because football down there is a different thing.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the famous Caleb Benenot story.
Yeah.
When he moved to Katy, Texas, and he said to his mom, sign me up for football so I can meet the neighborhood kids. Yeah. She signed him up for football. She got a phone call from the coach saying you need a helmet and shoulder pads and shin pads. And she's like, why? I signed him up for football. Doesn't he just need cleats and a ball? So I get it.
Yeah.
Randy Moss.
Yes.
Which we knew. Didn't he walk away from ESPN a while ago?
I feel like he's been
for health reasons. So I guess he just it just came out that he's been diagnosed with liver cancer.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. So our thoughts are with my fellow Randy.
I hate to say it, but it used to be when somebody got cancer, it was such a rare thing that the cities would come together and churches and schools and fundraisers and, everybody would rally together. But now it's almost like everyone I know is affected by or has had Tommy Kalesi from Billboard Mats, sponsor of the show. Like, almost like everybody we know is now
My brother.
your brother, my mom, like, my nephew.
My mother-in-law. Everybody is touched by it. And there is no advantage at all, but the advantage over 10, 20, 30 years ago is science and medicine. And, it's not necessarily a death sentence, and it's not necessarily a death sentence today.
Yeah.
So the battle is there. Look at Tommy. Tommy looks great.
He does.
Always a smile on his face. And you have to determine how are you going to fight it.
Yeah. Well, you have two choices. You can either turn around and run directly into the storm, and it's going to be more intense for a shorter period of time, or you stay running with it and stay in it for longer periods and eventually hope to outrun it. But you got two choices. And me, I'm going to turn around and run the hell right into that fire. That's why I do all this preventative. I mean, I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't know if hydrogen water works. I don't know if I'm oxidating my cells, but I'm sure the hell not just wait and find out.
Right. Well, and somebody told me that in a religious standpoint as well. Would you rather be wrong for 100 years and then right for eternity? Or would you rather be right for 100 years and
there's no penalty for believing?
No, of course.
You just get the satisfaction of feeling like a higher being's watching over you, protecting you. And then if you're right, you're right. And if you're wrong, like it's...
But the difference is, and we kind of talked about it briefly with Dustin and Jacoby early, in today's world, it's not like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, 20 years ago, you do you, I do me. I think you're doing stuff ridiculous.
Dana does this. You're going to tell Dana he's ridiculous?
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
But it's your right to do it. In today's world, it's different. Today's world, people are like offended because you're trying to do something that you believe in. Yeah. Not once have I ever said it's stupid. I just believe I said you're stupid.
But if I did it, I'm stupid. But if Dana does it, you would never think the same. Who the person is that how you regard them in your value of life.
I've blatantly told you that.
Right. Like, but this is Dana's thing. I didn't say this.
I'm not going to say too much on the air because the person will be on next week. But I gave something of yours a try.
Yeah.
Okay. And it has not really done anything to me.
Okay.
So we'll discuss this next week.
Okay.
The frequency garbage, this garbage. I attempted to do.
You look great. Are you down to 190 pounds?
Well, but that has nothing to do with anything other than I'm still doing that fast thing.
Yeah, fasting.
I always kind of did that. I've always kind of blown through breakfast, and then I get busy, and then before I know it's noon. So really what I've done, and it's really not even a fast, even though it is, I've just cut out eating a gallon of ice cream at night.
Sure, salt, sugar.
Eating after dinner for no reason.
Smart.
I have changed, as we're boring people for the next couple of minutes, our next guest, Cub Swanson, will be here at the bottom of the next hour. I tell the story all the time. Former co-host and I were flying to Austin, Texas, and we eat at the Tampa airport.
Okay.
Probably Chick-fil-A, knowing me, whatever. We land at Austin.
It wasn't Sunday.
It was not Sunday.
It was not a flight on Sunday.
Because the flight was on Saturday, so it probably was Friday, maybe Saturday morning.
All right.
So we land in Austin, and I said to him, hey, you want to grab some barbecue? He goes, no, I'm not hungry. We just ate at the airport 3 hours ago. And I've said this to you all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had to be hungry to eat.
It's true.
And I've now changed, and they always say that. You eat to live. You don't live to eat.
Yeah.
And, when I'm not hungry.
Well, the question is, are you hungry or are you addicted? Because the hunger pain or that sensation of like starvation, like the foods have chemicals. Everything you put in your body changes you.
Well, Matthew McConaughey says that about football, that everything football related is food. Have you seen that commercial?
No.
And then he turns and he's like, look, there's Jerry, rice, and it's not necessarily an addiction. It's boredom.
Yeah, we get boredom. Yeah, it's convenient because it's always within arm's reach. So, we don't have to hunt and gather and expend energy to go and look for our next meal. So, yeah, it's just a more sensible way of living, and now I eat when I feel like I need the nutrition. I don't eat because I'm bored, or I don't eat because it's a certain time on a clock. And what the biggest thing I changed was the dad menu. Being a father, I always clean up all the plates and leftovers when we go out for a dinner. And I'm like, if we just made a smaller dad portion that comes out fresh with the flavor, the filet or the steak or the shrimp, we work hard. We want to have the flavor and it fresh when the meals come out for the family. But we know at the end of the meal, we're going to eat all the extra calories, so we don't want to waste the money or the food. So smaller portions and just mindfulness. And you can be a father.
My wife and I have started splitting meals.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a great strategy. Saves money. It's budget friendly, and you're not eating so many calories.
And even if we choose to, it would have to be between that 8-hour period. You split a lunch and then you maybe split the dinner later.
And you know me, Randy. Like I'm not always the best at everything. Okay, I'm not great.
Or if I could anything.
Right. So I like to dress in character for the show. If we do golf, I wear golf attire. So I came prepared. The UFC, I got my cup on. I'm ready to go, Randy. But I don't think anybody would think that I'm a 48-year-old dude, father of 2. Like I feel 18 again.
Hold on a second. What does a father of 2 have anything?
Well, obligation. You don't have the time to like stay in the gym or commitment to your nutrition or empathy weight when your spouse is pregnant and you're going through the journey. You gain weight as a father, in the home.
Really?
Yeah, it's a normal thing.
Gain weight.
Most fathers gain. Most husbands or men gain sympathy weight when the women are pregnant during that period. They're not active as much. They're not working out in the gym. They've resting or staying on the couch.
So in order to have an excuse not to work out, you want your wife pregnant.
Whew.
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't want to say anything officially on record because there's people here.
I didn't work out when she was pregnant. I didn't work out when she
wasn't. I mean, if
pregnant.
you want to throw stones at good people, but like, here's the thing: it's just part of the process.
I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
I'm just saying that sympathy weight's real. And I don't feel like I'm 48. I feel like these things that I have been doing voluntarily, I feel 18 again. I don't have the joint pain and the issues.
Let me tell you about my relationship with my wife.
Yes.
When I've done these different diets, she goes, "That's you. I'm being me," and she'll go eat whatever, and vice versa.
I'm in the same boat.
And that's the way it should be. If you want to go do something, if you're going to drink water that looks like
I'm ready
coal,
to jump into the octagon, Randy. I brought my mouthpiece. We're going to cut one. We're going to UFC. I'm ready, baby. Let's go. Put me in, coach. 48-year-old man fighting Saturday night. Let's do it.
You are an idiot.
Find me an opponent.
I'll find you an opponent.
What weight class do you think I fight at?
I don't really care.
What do you think this?
Whichever weight class gets your ass kicked is what I'm hoping.
If you had a guess, if it was a carnival game show, if you got within 3 pounds, you win a stuffed animal or tickets to the UFC.
First of all, I'm not a carny.
What do you think I weigh today? What do you think this physique weighs? You know the classes. We've got women's straw weight, bantamweight, got featherweight, light heavyweight, right? Heavyweight, super heavyweight. What do you think? What weight class do you think your coach is in?
I don't know. 2, I don't care.
Just guess a number.
I'll say, how tall are you?
6'2". 6'2".
Down.
I'm just giving you an accurate measurement.
I'm not going to look at you.
At the carnival, they will let you look at me and then guess with the microphone.
I'm not looking.
What's your number? What do you think?
I'll say 220.
Nice. 191 this morning.
I almost said 195.
Yeah.
But I figured you were going to say, no, I'm 6'7", and I'm divulging it well.
But here's the thing. I don't want to carry all the extra weight on my joints, on my back, on my knees, but I want to look bigger.
The conversation is over. We are at the top of the hour number 2 when we return. This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong, Staff Zone, and Bucked Up Energy Drink. All right, we're back coming to you live from Tampa.
Yeah, hometown.
God, I'm so happy that I'm able to cover the sport and not leave. I'll be home this afternoon. We're going to go hit up the golf tournament in the morning.
Yeah.
We do have another pair of UFC tickets to give away for Saturday.
Okay.
Go to the website. We're going to have the drawing tomorrow. Go to the website, knockoutradio.com, the contact page. Just register. No contest, no this, no that. Or
put in my weight, 191.
Just go to the contact link and register. If you're not fortunate enough to win it, there is a kick-ass pair that I was able to acquire and give to the Ryan Neese Power of Giving event tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So that'll be available on the auction, which includes pushing you aside.
No.
This is pushing you aside.
Why?
Because the winner of those tickets gets to come and join the show.
Oh, nice. I moved down a chair.
For that day, you'll move down.
I'm glad we got extra chairs in this room.
Well,
I can go a long way down this network.
Yeah.
I could end up in 15th place by the end of the third hour.
Probably even more. There was more chairs. I don't know if you could fit as many people into this room as there's chairs in here.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
So, hit us up, knockoutradio.com to register, as well as we'll have tickets to give away to Saturday's finals of the Pro Rivals. Austin and I went out there yesterday, a couple guys teeing off. Joe Carter's like, no, that's not right. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's right. That we met almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, yeah. And then I started to describe it a little bit. The captains' meetings were today. Captains we've talked about, Smoltz, Jerome Bettis, Jeremy Roenick, and John Barry.
Yeah.
Some big names. Ray Allen has been added. So it's off the chain. So we're going to go out there tomorrow morning. I think the three of us are. And go on the course and do some stuff there.
If I'm driving a golf cart, can I get a DUI?
Yes.
I just said I was drinking.
Yes.
I'm just saying I'm driving a golf cart.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
and now people think you can drive, whether you have a license tag or not, that you can drive a golf cart on a street, on a highway.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
And I wonder why they get mad when I run them off the road.
Do they have AI where the golf cart will just go to the ball? Like you don't have to drive it anymore? I wonder if they have an automatic golf cart. Electric, takes you right to where your ball is. It's got a sensor. I think it's coming. Sensors in golf balls.
I got somebody here that I could ask to whoop your butt.
Yeah, who you got? That's a big guy.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
There's a lot of big guys walking around.
Yeah, that's a big human.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
So are you going to go out there tomorrow to the golf tournament?
Yeah, I'll go with you guys. Yeah.
And then Friday, Austin and I will be here for the weigh-ins.
Okay.
And then the ceremonial, I normally call them fake. The ceremonials will be at Emily.
Okay.
On Friday afternoon.
I'm available. I don't think I work this week.
You can go to the ceremonial ones.
Because if it's early, I got to be in Orlando for the fights. I'm working for the commission over at the Royal Carib. I'm going to do that tonight as well. The Pro Box in Atlanta.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I got time. I'm down.
Good for you.
I'm all about the fight game, Randy. That's what I do.
Saturday, it's nice to say, the UFC at Amalie Arena.
This is my first time seeing it in our hometown. Like the last two times it came, I was in Brazil for one of them, and I was in Italy for the other. So finally, seeing it at home, it's gonna be special. I think I'm gonna feel like Billy Q. It's gonna be a tear to my eye.
Well, I believe Billy's favored.
Yeah.
Old lion, new lion. Again, it's I look at last week. Three of the old lions, all three went down.
But we asked Billy about the feeling of fighting in his hometown. What about for you, Randy? Like 30 years you were promoting this brand, this style of fighting. Here it is in your hometown where you've made. I mean, it was relevant here because of you. So, I mean, how's this going to feel for you sitting in the crowd, being backstage? Like, is it what you thought it would be 30 years ago when you saw it, when you felt it?
No, I never anticipated this. I remember talking to Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, Tito, all those guys. What if? Can it? Will it build? But they've told me about Saturday. He called it the Kevin Iole seat. So I'll be in the marquee seat on the floor for the fights.
Wow.
And I don't say it. But yeah, I feel a little responsible, for some of the growth, back when nobody wanted to cover it. I looked at some of the media. I was shocked. I was able to get Rock Riley out here.
Yeah.
Who was down in the media room. A lot of them still aren't bored. I begged Paul Porter to come, just to come because he always calls it KFC. I go, what are you doing Saturday? And he goes, why? I go, no, I got something I want to bring you to. He goes, why? Is the KFC in town? Because he would always call it KFC. But he's out of town, I think. I forget where he told me. I said, all right, so there's nothing we can do. Navy Army is Saturday.
Okay. Big Saturday for you.
Normally, it would have been. Two of the three of us would have been at the game. So hopefully that'll happen next year.
Okay.
For Navy Army. Very important to say it that way, always. But no, it's cool for me, to have them in Tampa, to see the billboards, to know that Billy, has been invited out to the Bucks.
Could you fuse that?
Buckley did the Lightning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but you fuse that like kind of locker room, because the fighters weren't really well known. So getting to know what teams they liked, what sports they were into, what hobbies they did. I mean, before social media, people could design their own profiles and tell the world what their hobbies and likes are. You were doing it live on radio back when nobody really knew what this even was. So I'm excited for you, man. This is going to be a big weekend.
No, it's
exciting.
It's definitely going to be.
And it's in a sold out Amalie Arena. I mean, like we're not talking about like a fairground, like, annex or like a barn or some underground club, right? And we're talking about Amalie Arena. We're on live radio. That's cool.
No, I'm trying to get somebody's attention to get us a guest.
A fans?
No, it's
let them in.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, go get him.
I'm going to go grab him.
Wrangle him.
We'll break early.
Break
Let's
now.
hit this break. I'm going to jump out and see if I can grab him.
Get him.
We'll be right back. All right, we are back coming to you live from the hotel, the UFC hotel. As like I've said for the last couple hours, one time I did not have to travel, which is fantastic. It's great to have Fabiano in our town, in our community. What's up, dude?
And my stomping grounds too, because I consider myself Central Florida to the core. So this whole axis here, from Tampa to Daytona. I used to live in Orlando for a long time.
Right.
I was a Disney cast member, and Orlando was, the most Brazilian city in the world outside of Brazil. So I ended up there.
Are you allowed to say what you did at Disney?
Yeah. When I say cast members, it's really please be mindful. Like everybody's a cast member.
Right. Well, that's why I was saying.
Yes.
Right.
I was not friends with anybody. The term that we like to use when you actually are a character.
Right. Okay.
I did get to do that once for 45 minutes. I was friends with Tigger. Get it? But I was, I worked for Magic Kingdom Operations, Magic Kingdom Guest Relations, worked for Disney Special Activities. I was a campus rep at Penn State for Disney. And then even Disney Cruise Line Human Resources for a while. Like I've done a bunch of different things.
What is your title here at the UFC?
First and foremost, that is not my full-time job. This is my side piece, as some people like to say. I actually work in tech and travel. I'm a strategic account manager for a company that deals with tech solutions and travel. But in the UFC, I'm an interpreter. So I'm a translator for Portuguese and Spanish. That's what people know me as. That's what I do.
George Gagel once explained the difference. And of course, I forgot it as soon as he said it.
Okay.
So what is the difference between a translator and an interpreter?
So technically, a translator is like, so if you get a document, you get content, you send me something, you want to put a piece that you wrote, for example, or any content that's written or something of the sort, that's translation, right? We're translating content of words. Interpreting is what we do, is what I'm talking, and that the interpreting is almost like the difference between libel and slander. Right. One is the word. Well, that's pretty much it. Still, it says translator on my name tag, on my credential, but that's because we're translators in essence. But that's what an interpreter does. An interpreter is when you see, like, for the UN, somebody's talking, they use that word interpreter for it.
So the English-speaking people, that are watching the UFC, or really anything, but since I see it and I watch it a lot with the UFC. The question will be asked, whether it's Joe Rogan or whoever, and then the Brazilian athlete, most of the time, takes about 4.5 minutes to answer. And then the translator then says, he said it was a great fight.
It's like big gulps, huh?
Yeah. Condensed a bit, right? Condensed version.
How difficult is it to, I forget the first thing we talked about outside this room. How do you remember it, when it's going so fast?
I tell people, I put that on a virtual, a mental PowerPoint. What is the cool thing about being from the corporate world, right? So I put it on a PowerPoint. I'm very visual. Men aren't we? Yeah, we're visual. I have to do. I already heard stuff, but I start putting on a virtual PowerPoint, and certain words. For example, people mention names is very important. I try to know who the corners are. You do the research before. I look at rankings. I look at who they could be calling, wins that they had before. Because sometimes people are having conversations within the world of MMA and the UFC specifically, and it's important for you to know what the heck is going on. You can't just fall out of the sky there. Like, yeah, he mentioned the name John Jones. Yeah, that's yeah, it's John Jones. We've heard enough about John Jones the past month, but I try to understand the context of everything, because if there's a call out or something of the sort, even you've heard them say it, and like Bisping or Rogan or DC or Felder will ask the question. They're like, who'd they call out? And sometimes I already know, because I heard with somewhat of an accent, but I know that was a possible call out. But I put it on a PowerPoint. I put some words in caps. I put some others in bold. Sometimes they say some words that are very important to translate. I think to give context, even in a contextual translation, sometimes it's very important to mention certain words. I understand many of them are very religious. You want to make sure that, you do honor to scripture. But some of them are talking about a specific story that happened and they want to thank somebody. You try to honor the name of the people there. Or they talk about a city or a certain situation. They want to shout out. So you try to make sure that those things are there. And sometimes they use very powerful words. Okay, I want to make sure I translate that because that, is also their brand. This is an individual sport. I mean, Brittany and I we talked about football for quite some time. Football is the reason why I learned English when I came to America, while I'm dateable from September to February. But it's a team sport. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. I have a problem with the Bucks because I've obviously been very, very hurt by your
the Bucks would like you to come out to the complex because they have some words they'd like to say to you.
Listen, in Baker you trust. I trust too. So
Love Baker.
Yes, grit, I can say. But I mean, individual sports are different.
Right.
They are each a brand. They are people. And I've always said this. Their fight, because I've been very privileged to have an education, have access to learning languages. There's somewhat of a gift there. I've been able to train it. I've had opportunities to perfect some things and as a skill that you sharpen. But they are fighters. And many of them come from almost nothing or nothing.
Yeah.
So their fight starts way before the octagon and goes way well beyond it. And if from those moments we can do an honor, if I can, I've said this endlessly, if I can connect one fan to one fighter, that connection perhaps was not there because of the language barrier. Maybe you didn't pay attention to it's the interview, whatever. What if a personality shines? There are some people that okay, I'll say it, a fighter. Let's use an example. How badass is Jessica Andrade?
Yeah. No
badass in every capacity. She's funny as hell. She is hilarious. Like a hilarious human being, and very snap. She thinks of stuff you're a stand-up comedian, and it's so cool to be able to a personality. As you said, sometimes
well, we just saw it with Diego Lopez, right? I mean, what a star!
It's crazy,
right? Like you can't even understand the language, but you can just feel the aura.
Some
right?
people got an aura.
They have the aura.
Some people got an aura,
absolutely,
and the personality shines. And if you can help them out with translating a term, or it becomes maybe a slogan of theirs. I mean, everybody ended up getting to know what Charles said. He said the champion has a name. I was very fortunate to be in that interview. I mean, it was a seminal moment if you think of the Charles Waite situation in Phoenix against Gagey. So I fly in from my job. I had to be. No, I went to a travel conference in Vegas. I had to be there. I leave Dre's at 3 because that was the ending party. I'm in the airport the following day. I hop on a flight to Phoenix. When the internet and on the plane doesn't connect?
Yeah.
It just happened, man. The weight miss situation happened as we were taking off. I was like, oh, what? I land and there's text oh, we're going to need you. Where are you? I was like, I'm fine. I'm getting right now. And I was there in the interview to Megan O'Leary, in which she said she is awesome too because the people here, the people that work, the people know obviously Megan and all the but the people that work backstage, they brief you on stuff. So Megan came to me. She's been nice since day one to me. It was amazing. She goes, she said, this is going to be the first time anybody speaks to him afterwards. So I was very prepared for the situation. As it turns out, that's when he said, the champion has a name. And it became a thing, right?
Right.
Things become T-shirts all of a sudden. It's fascinating. It's mind-boggling too because I never.
Okay, Fabio, tudo bem. Desculpe. Meu português terrível.
What is this?
Eu falo pouco português. Desculpe. Minha esposa brasileira.
Props.
The city my wife's from, Victoria, Eric Silva, and Rodrigo Dam, and Giovanni Almeida. Those guys, Team Nagaro, they got me into. So my whole tattoo, as you talk about religion.
Are you kidding me? He's got the Christ to
my daughters.
That is awesome.
With the Brazilian flag.
Maria.
There's awesome.
So, that's awesome.
So I can't speak Portuguese fluently.
Okay.
I've been married 20 years. My wife is Brazilian. My daughter was born in Brazil. My oldest we had her born in Brazil. What tips can you give me to help me with like understanding the language? Because I really want to know what my kids are saying behind my back in the kitchen.
That's the most important thing. And
can I throw this out? You don't want to know what they're saying.
You might not want to know.
True.
We know your daughter.
Did I miss that window? They're 10 and 12.
Listen, it's key right now because they're as they become teenagers.
Yeah.
Because it's next year.
Well, they have different
There you
languages in apps. Kids are communicating in different levels and different
it's
codes.
very important. So actually, they had this thing on like TikTok or something a couple of days ago of this girl that just like, I mean, just you look at her, she looks like she's from a sorority and SEC school. Like the girl's like a typical like white girl. She goes, oh, and she starts speaking Spanish, and I was like, whoa, hold up a second. You know why she learned Spanish? Because she's married to a Mexican and she wanted to know what her mom and her mother-in-law said about her. And because of the swagger, the chisme was important, the gossip.
Wow.
So you got to have a driver or a reason. And I would say immersion is one of the best things. Music helps if that's your thing. Football was mine. With Spanish was music. Italian is food. Obviously, I am an Italian citizen as well. But you have to find something that you can relate. Maybe, a show that you will watch, content that you can watch, because now we can put in any content at any time.
Yeah.
Think of back in the days of VHS. For you kids out there, you don't even know that ELP.
8-track.
You have no idea what that is. You have no idea. Well, at that time, you barely got any content. You had to wait till somebody sends you a tape. And then you go from the tape and you hope that person recorded it with closed caption in the United States, because then there would be some subtitles on it. Now you can go into any content platform. I mean, whether it's Netflix or Peacock or Amazon Prime or Paramount, it doesn't matter. You can put subtitles in the original language. So that's immersion. That's a visual and audio immersion. Try to immerse yourself. That's one of the best things. You gotta. It's like what they say, even like during the off season and during training camp. You gotta eat, sleep, and breathe football. Right? That's what you gotta do. It's when you see players with the iPads, just or the surfaces, and they're basically looking at plays. They're eating that playbook all the time. That's what you do. You start content all the time. You stop reading other things in another language. You have to detach yourself, because we only have 100% of our time, our attention, and our energy. Nobody has 110%. Your day has 24 hours. My day has 24 hours. Nobody got 25. Whatever you do, if you're doing one thing, you're not doing another thing. When you're out of the bar, you're not sleeping. When you're sleeping, you're not working. If you're working, you're not out of the bar. It's a cycle. You gotta balance those things, right? Yeah. It's try to make sure. Take away some content that you watch in English. Try to watch it in Portuguese. That's it.
I know you're a football guy, so I want to ask you this question. I'm being blasted like I care on Facebook because I have a strong opinion. Scott Frost returns to UCF.
Scott Frost returns to UCF.
Give me your thoughts.
It worked the first time, didn't it? It worked amazingly.
It did work the first time.
It is funny to me because we're not there. People have all kinds of opinions about, sports, and we're not there. Everybody thinks that put yourself, have some empathy, put yourself in his shoes. Scott Frost is running the FAST program, the bounce house. I'm an Orlando guy. Right. I saw UCF become one of national champions, baby. You see that happen. And then he has an opportunity to go back to his alma mater where I watched him play. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm a Penn State guy, but I've been college football is amazing. Yeah. And you get to see that sea of red, and you get to be the one that's going to lead that program back to prominence. You have the years like Pelini, like all this stuff. You want that to happen. And it didn't work. So there are people that have left companies in my world and travel, and that experience. I myself, listen, not a relatable someone. I left and went for a particular job in tech, and I learned a lot about something else. It didn't work on that particular realm. I want to go back. I went back to where I was before, doing something more aligned, even with the new job. I wanted to get that experience. What if he comes back and is like, he's a better man? Like, I don't know. Like, even like I talk about Dan Quinn. You've ever heard of Dan Quinn's interviews of what he did after he left and went to the Cowboys? He said that he got a reporter. I can't remember. It might have been Laura Oakman. He asked Laura to do independent interviews as a journalist with people around football, from front offices to players to the media, about what they thought of Dan Quinn and how he improves the person. He did a 360 corporate interview. We all can become better. I just hope it works for everybody.
My only thought is, and can we get you back on in the next hour as well?
At one point, yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah,
okay.
we'll try.
Because I know we're going to run out of time here in a second. My thought is, we're going to go to a break right now.
We're ready for that, man.
My thought, just to end it, is he didn't walk out. He took a better job.
Yes,
he took a job.
as
but
we
what
all
about
did.
the kids that were there?
That's my
now, and that's my drawback. We'll talk more about this with you in the next hour. Is
It's
that
the
cool?
age of NIL, man. Well, I don't know.
Prazer, my brother.
Prazer,
All right,
camarada.
let's go hit a quick break. Cub Swanson
Thank
when we
you.
return. All right, we are back coming to you live from the hotel as we get ready for the final UFC of the year. Welcoming back to the show. We had him at the press box back in the day. Cub Swanson, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Talk about being in Tampa. You've been here before. Do you get a chance to go out? I always talk to you guys about, it's work, and work's the most important. But do you get to enjoy Tampa at all while you're here?
Honestly, I haven't. I usually don't do much fight week. I'm pretty relaxed and just trying to save my energy. So I don't do much. And I think both times I've come before, I just kind of out right away. And I think the last fight, I had a day extra, but I had some issue with my eye and my vision was messed up. So I spent the entire day in the hospital. So
that ain't good.
Ruined that for me. Yeah.
Are you staying after on Saturday? Are you going to be in town for a while? Or?
No. So usually I stay an extra day, and I didn't because me and my wife are both working. My wife works the event too, and so we only have the babysitter till Sunday night. So I got to be home.
What's it like, and does it matter that you're fighting a hometown guy, very well known in the Tampa area?
I mean, it's unfortunate for him. You got to carry the stress of that. People think it's it gets fight in my hometown. It's like, man, that's a lot of pressure. And if things go good for him, it's big. But I'm 2-0 here. I'm very comfortable fighting in this arena. So I'm excited for it.
People really don't realize what you just said, because I feel the pressure. Chris Costello and the PR people, they're like, all right, we're in your hometown. We need this, we need that, media, this, that, the other. So I can't imagine fight-wise, but I know the pressure I'm under, that everything goes the next couple days.
Yeah, I mean, when I fought in LA, I was so excited, and I think I sold like $22,000 in tickets just for my immediate friends and family, and then everything that was going on, and it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming, and so, yeah, I don't have that pressure. I just flew over here. I'm at a place I've done well in before, so I feel comfortable.
Veteran answer, though. You said you sold, because a lot of times your friends and family call and want them for free. So a good move.
Yeah, I mean, Cub, what's changed over the years? I mean, because you're saying you're going right back because both of you have to work, and the babysitter and the kids. Like, it feels almost like the original UFC, where it was you had a career and then fighting was your hobby or your passion, but it wasn't your lifestyle or income.
Well, yeah, when I was younger, this was everything, and I mapped everything around fighting, and fighting was number one, and at this point in my career, when I got married and had kids, I decided that, okay, if I continue to do this, it's no longer my first priority. It's comes after me being a dad and all that. So, I was still walking my kids to school on Monday, the day before I left for here, and I'll do that Monday next week. So I get a little short window of time to live my dream, and then it's back to being a dad.
So is that what the shirt represents? Like, I see like a kid on the shoulders. Like, what? Yeah. What's the significance of the jersey or the shirt?
Yeah, this is a picture of me and my daughter that my wife got me for Christmas, I think, last year, and I wanted to wear it just because I wanted a piece of my family with me.
Wow.
How old are your children?
I have a 7-year-old daughter and 2 6-year-old boys. I have twins. So I had 3 kids that are 1 year apart. It's pretty, 1 year and like 10 days. Yeah. So I have like Irish triplets.
Right. Well, the reason that I asked that is I'm sure you remember I always give thank you gifts and stuff, but I was able to pick up a new sponsor, which I would have said later, but it's called Fantasy Pets, who make these really cool 3D. So I'm going to send 3 of them out to you so that each one of your children can have a pet of their own.
Okay.
So
well, I appreciate that.
how will you relax? I mean, do you just stay in the room? Do you watch TV? Do you play video games? Do you try not to think about the job that's coming on Saturday?
I do both. I want to think a lot about it because it's I try to treat it like you're studying for a test. I want to make sure that I hit all my marks and I have a great performance. That's what I owe to the fans and what I want to accomplish. And then when I don't need to do that stuff, I'm just relaxing, hanging out with my guys and just trying to ease the tension, trying to make it smooth. And I think when you're cutting weight, when you're stressed out, it makes it worse.
Sure.
And, stressing before something that's inevitable is a little ridiculous. So you just, that's the veteran part, is just trusting the process and doing things that you need to do and show up and fight on Saturday.
I've asked the other fighters that have been in so far about, warnings, stern warnings, harsh warnings, which I hate all of those. I don't think you should get a warning. I think if you do something, if it's a foul, it's a foul, you lose a point. And then you have a stern warning. What is a stern warning? Like your dad calls you into the kitchen and spanks you, and that's worse than don't do it? I mean, I have a problem with that. As a veteran fighter, do you have thoughts on all those things?
That is a good point, but it is difficult because, like a cage grab in one instance isn't the same as one in another, depending on what's happening. Mm-hmm. So I think giving the referee the verbiage to be able to not take a point right away, depending on the situation, I think is tough because there's a lot of gray areas. It's not a very black and white thing. Sure. I'd harp on more like if somebody missed weight, they should come into the fight with a point deducted.
Absolutely. Per pound.
So, yeah.
Per pound. I think per pound.
per pound.
I do think that.
Right.
Because
I think a point is enough. What I would say is I think it should be the percentage of your purse should be 5% for every half pound.
There you go.
And because if you're 4 pounds over, that's 40% of your purse.
Yeah.
And then at 4 pounds, they won't even allow the fight to happen. So I think if you almost are going to 50% of your purse, it's like that you miss by a lot, and the fight shouldn't happen. And 50% of your purse means a lot. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Billy Q's answer to was, it depends on whether I commit the foul or my opponent does.
Yeah.
It was good.
I could see him saying that.
So are the kids old enough to or do they realize you're a Hall of Famer? Does it come up? Are you the cool dad? How's your aura? Because I have daughters that are 10 and 12. Apparently I have zero aura. So how do the kids see your career?
They're really kind of they're too young to really understand. They know what I do, but they haven't really grasped it. My daughter understands a little bit more. She's like, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, to some people I am, because just random people will stop and say hi, and it doesn't happen a crazy amount. So it's just enough to where they pick up on it. But my boys, they're kind of oblivious. They they do jujitsu, and so they just think that we all do the same thing.
Yeah.
The best is when, and I know it's an awful word, when a boyfriend comes to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about a boyfriend's coming to the door and Cub comes and answers the door?
Yeah, I thought about that for sure, having a daughter. But the thing is I'm always going to be training fighters, and I'm always going to have guys around to
protect you.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'd be like, you're not just messing with me, you're messing with a whole crew of people.
my daughter went to UCF, graduated at UCF, and could not get a date for 4 years because they knew, would they go to a UFC watch party and she would know not only what was happening, but know the fighters in the octagon. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we might not want to mess with her. And then she would show an armbar. She couldn't get a date. It was the greatest thing ever. I loved it. So I always recommend any father teach their daughter, their son as well, but their daughter that, because it'll keep people away.
Yeah.
Didn't you stage a barbecue or something where there were fighters in the driveway when they came to pick her up?
But yeah.
Well, you threw a barbecue, and who was there? seeing all these guys, and they're like, "Oh, I'm here to pick up your daughter for a date." It's got all the killers in the
Go
driveway.
through all that. Yeah, there's a picture with her and Randy, and her with So it is.
That's awesome.
It is definitely. How did you look at your career now compared to when you first started? I mean, is the drive still there? I mean, is the love still there, or is it just something you do well, and you're going to continue doing it?
Yeah, I mean, the progression of myself has been pretty drastic, and I think that's why I have a big fan base is if people can appreciate me always being real and just being me, and seeing that I was like real rough around the edges in the beginning, and then I matured into an athlete, and now I'm more of a family man, and I've always just gone out there and tried my best, and I think people can appreciate that. But yeah, motivation changes over the years, and you got to keep evolving, and it's not easy to navigate that. But yeah, like I said, at this point in my career, I feel really confident in myself and who I am. And I just love to do it. It's always been my therapy, honestly.
You know what fans, and I was talking to some of the NFL media at Bucks camp last week, I think fans and media forget that, when we first talked to you, you were 20. You were 21 in front of a microphone, in front of cameras. It's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. And I was telling the PR people at the Bucks, I go, I'm still uncomfortable doing it. And I've been doing it for 45 years. So when a young athlete comes in, male or female, to be thrown in front of cameras and expected to handle it perfectly, it doesn't always happen that way. Yeah,
I mean, and the fact that we don't get trained on it, the UFC's always let us just be us. And, I've heard like, Olympians get rigorous training on it, and then how to speak and present yourself. And I didn't get taught any of that. It's always just like, here you go. And I definitely wasn't very good in the beginning. And then I just kind of learned. And I think that's what's also been great for me with the sport is I've had to learn so many different things. And when I talk to kids at schools, sometimes I go talk to kids at schools and tell them what it involves being a fighter. I always ask them, like, what do you think I do? And they just think I just fight all day. I just train. It's like, yeah, that's part of it. But you have to learn so many different aspects of life to be successful at it. You got to learn about taxes. You got to learn about contracts. You got to learn about how to do public speaking, PR. You got social media. You have so many things you got to be good at. And if you don't want to learn about it, you got to pay somebody to do it for you. So you have to make your choice.
And then when you pay somebody to do it, that cuts into the money that you're making. And
exactly.
People don't realize that either. You're like an independent contractor, and you have to take care of all of this that cuts into what you're making. And so you have to stay on top of it.
No, I think, as a longevity play, you're obviously like fight camp used to be you'd fight every day going into a competition. Mm-hmm. Have you changed your approach to now training smarter and not taking as much damage in camp so you can actually perform on Saturday night?
Yeah, of course. That's one of the major things I've changed, and I'm always trying to speak about it. So thanks for asking. But the way that I train with my fighters is we train completely different, and we're very unique. I'm very particular about who I let in our gym, and it's because we need trust. And if you are the type of guy that you're willing to step on everybody to get what you want, then I don't want you in my gym. I need you to care about me as much as I care about you. And with that, we will build something great. Nice. And so I'm building a team of guys that are always looking out for each other, trying to push each other, but not trying to hurt each other, not trying to say, no, it's me over you. Because I had almost had my career derailed by people like that, and people that are always trying to prove a point in training and want to be the alpha in the room. And it's like, dude, it doesn't need to be like that. You do that in the fight, and there's too many guys that don't make it to the fight because they're going too hard and Absolutely. They're just training really stupid. And then we also have all these coaches that their nerves are making they think that they need to push you as hard as possible to make it to the fight, but you have 5 or 6 coaches and they're not communicating. So now you have 6 coaches trying to push you. And then when you're telling them, I feel like this, they're like, don't feel, this old school mentality of like, no, I'm trying to explain to you where I'm at physically, where I'm at mentally, so we can work together so that I'm at peak performance. And it's just, the stupidity has to go, the old school. Like I keep explaining it. When you do Pee Wee football, you do hitting drills because you need to see if the kids are tough, right?
Yeah.
in high school, they do a little bit of hitting drills, right? They know most of the guys are tough. In college, you think they're doing hitting drills? No, those are athletes, and those guys they know that they should be there. In the NFL, do you think they do hitting drills?
No.
Those are $1 million athletes. Yeah. You must be crazy. So why are you in the gym beating the crap out of each other every day? You know,
respect from an OG.
Yeah,
that's
I'm trying to change the culture of the sport, and trying to help the longevity of fighters.
Did you ever? Final question. Did you ever foresee? Because somebody just asked me this earlier, that MMA, the UFC, blew up like it. You know, we were back in the day. I mean, I've covered UFC since one, so to see what it came from to where it is and where it's going to continue to go. But could you ever foreseen this?
I knew it was, but I couldn't visualize it. It wasn't a reality. When I started, the sport was 2003. It had been around, but it wasn't that big. And when I saw that the Ultimate Fighter was going to happen the very first time on TV, I was like, there's no way that people won't appreciate this sport, more after this, because it's the realest sport there is. There's no team, no ball. It's one-on-one. It's about as real as it gets, and that, no pun intended. But
and what made it cool was that anyone could do it. You could be a math teacher in Cincinnati, like Rich Franklin, and you were a UPS driver, and you had real careers, and then you were a star on Saturday night. So it made it obtainable. So I think that's where it really. You're right. The Ultimate Fighter changed what it meant to the family household.
Well, yeah, it just showed that we weren't a bunch of thugs and street fighters. It was like there's martial artists and there's different aspects of it, right? But now it's like real athletes doing the sport and family people, and it's you have your gritty guys, you have your athletes, you have your martial artists. There's people from all walks of life, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's the sport that we all love. Cub, as always, thank you for your time. We're going to get your address, send you another care package of all the gifts that we like to do, as well as the fantasy pets, 3 of them going to your children.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy the week. I always call Fight Saturday as Christmas. So enjoy Christmas on Saturday, and then next week when it hits for real.
Thank you,
Let's go hit a quick break. Coming to you live from the hotel here, UFC in town in Tampa, Saturday night. We'll be right back. All right, we are back coming to you live from the hotel here as we get ready for UFC Tampa. I just got a text. Chuck Liddell will not be coming to Tampa.
What?
Yeah,
I get bad information again.
As you know.
I always get wrong information. They send me like, hey, party tonight. Come here. And I go, it's no one.
Well,
Just
the party's
me.
Tomorrow. The Power of Giving party.
Oh.
The Ryan Neese event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's a great event.
Drink, alcohol. For those that drink alcohol, food. I already said that, which I'm not going to eat tomorrow just so I can go eat out there.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
Usually when you go to places like that, you can't bring in your own outside, things. But I wonder if I could bring a hydrogen water bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, would that be allowed?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's an open container. I think that's a crime. I don't think you can drive around with an open container of any kind.
Yes, you can.
Really?
Yes, you can.
Ions with hydrogen added to it? That can't be illegal. Stem cells are illegal, right?
I think here in the States it is, right? That's why people go to
Colombia and Mexico. Tijuana. Yeah.
So let's look at the card real quick. You obviously know the main event got changed. And I remember people saying, oh, it's awful. Ian Gary. First of all, I don't even think you know who Ian Gary is. And second, I would take a Colby Covington just because of what he brings to the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Buckley. This is going to be a great fight.
It's a great fight. And Covington's South Florida guy, obviously, the sideshow that goes along with the Colby train, the political connection to Trump and Masvidal. And, it's got all the sensationalism, to make it a great, compelling fight. And I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, Buckley's first main event. His first time he's going to go 25 minutes, so does that factor in? Does it, do you have the endurance at this level to go 25 minutes against a Colby Covington? And I would say a lot of it is prime years still. So it's a very good matchup. I think it's going to be a great fight.
I'm excited. Our next guest due here after the top of the hour. Like I mentioned, it might have been off the air. He's not my brother from another mother because he's more like my son. When you say brother, you can't really be brother when they're you've been married longer than they've been alive.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, so it's like son, like a nephew.
But this is one of the coolest dudes. Yves Edwards will be here momentarily. You've heard me talk about him in great detail.
Yeah.
His fighter, Adrian Yanez.
He's a stand-up comic. Doesn't he do stand-up comedy?
I think that's his twin brother, Dean Thomas. It's not
Dan Evs.
It's not Dan.
Dan and Evs.
What?
Evs? Eves?
You are an idiot.
I can't pronounce words. It's hard.
Words are.
Did you bring the game? We should play it. We'll play with Yves Edwards. See if he can do better than I do.
Well, anybody can do better than you.
It's not true.
It is true.
I mean, I can pronounce some of these names.
I bet you can't.
Okay, give me one.
All right. Start with the co-main event. Billy.
Co-main event. It's Billy Quarantillo.
Okay. Tillo. Okay, so you blew that one.
But the two L's make it a Y in Portuguese. You go to Pollo Tropical, it's not Pollo. It's Pollo. Like, so it's Billy Quarantillo. Why the Y? It's a Y.
The problem is he's not Portuguese.
Dang it. I mean, it could be Spanish with a Q like that. Quesadilla. Queso.
How about the opening fight of the ESPN 2 card? Either one of those names.
Piera Rodriguez or Piera Rodriguez?
That's the opening fight of the ESPN prelims.
Oh, okay, which one? Navajo Sterling? Tocos?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I can do it. Michael Johnson, I'm all day. Otman Azatar? Dakar Klaus?
Who's Sean Woodson fighting?
Sean Woodson is fighting Fernando Pereira.
Not
two
right,
L's
but it's close.
with a Y.
Not
Pollo with a Y.
Not too bad. Doors open, I believe, at 5. Fight starts at 6.
Main event will go till 2:30
Well, no.
East Coast.
No, we won't get out of here. Well, you'll get out sooner.
Why the press conference? I gotta go.
Austin and I won't get out until 2:30.
Yeah,
you'll be out of here by.
I think you'll be a much nicer, happier 2 a.m. press conference, Randy Harris, because usually, and back in Madison Square Garden, Austin will know it's a very aggressive scene.
Well,
very
no, it's not aggressive. It's,
like you're over it. You're ready to go home. You're ready to get to the flight.
That's not it. It's an over aggressive trying to stay awake.
Okay,
and I have to concentrate to not fall asleep.
Because the Diet Coke that you're slamming to stay awake isn't really doing
I
much.
don't drink Diet Coke to stay awake.
Yeah.
The caffeine doesn't,
Well, it's not the caffeine. It's the insulin response. It's the pancreas being engaged, even though there's no calories.
Yeah. That's my issue, that I just need to stay awake.
But you've been pretty grumpy at 2 a.m. at a press conference before. I've been next to you many times.
Yeah.
There's like a rumble. It's almost like a growl.
But it's just because it's 2 a.m. I can't tell you the only time I'm ever awake at 2 a.m. is at a UFC event, because I'm either still at the press conference, trying to get the hell out of the press conference. I'm driving to the airport. I'm trying to get to the airport. I always red eye it, or I'm always 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's just, I'm not used to being.
Did you love how last time I went to Madison Square Garden, like I walked us around the arena several ways. Get your calories in, get your steps in.
That's not why you did it.
Sure, I wanted to get you healthy. Look, you're down at 192.
You did it because you're a moron.
I mean, I don't know directions real well. I don't work for Rand McNally. What do you think of him?
And it wasn't just you walked us around Madison Square Gardens incorrectly. You walked us down the main road to the subway the wrong way.
Extra steps, extra energy expenditure. You're welcome. Your weight loss was scripted. It's like wrestling.
I'm not sure I could hate you anymore.
Why?
I really don't.
Why? After we're done tomorrow night or Saturday night, I'm going to walk you around the convention center. I'm going to get you lost in downtown Tampa.
No, I'm going to know my own way to
work
my car.
I'll tell you a true story. So 2 weeks ago, I ran the Miles for Moffitt cancer race here at Amalie Arena, and I parked under the overpass or the Selman Expressway. But I didn't realize in downtown, it starts and stops at different sectors. And I knew I parked under it at a pay lot, but I didn't know where my car was. So I went to the police officer. I was like, "Excuse me, officer, can you help me? I'm an old man. I'm just disoriented. I'm confused. I know I parked under a subway-like bridge, but I can't find my car." He looked at the app, and the zone I parked in doesn't exist. So he didn't know how to help me. And then, like me, I found something in my subconscious. I remembered a building with a special logo, and I was like, oh, that's where my car is. And I went back and I dug that memory out. Even from 5 a.m., dark, in a strange place, I was still fully aware of my surroundings. And that's what we do, Randy Harris.
Good.
Yeah, man. So I can get you lost after the event at 2 a.m. walking around Tampa. We're going to feel like we're in a brand new city.
You're not going to get me lost.
It's my hometown. I'll be your tour guide. You're an outsider. You're from St. Pete.
Well, really, I'm from Philadelphia.
Well, we don't know that.
What do you mean you don't
I
know?
haven't seen your actual ID, like your birth certificate. I haven't actually seen the documentation. I mean, if you could provide something, that's credible.
All right. I'll show you my birth certificate when you show me $100 bill that you're going to put in my hand and then walk away.
That's easy.
Yeah.
$100 bill, walk away. There you go. You're going to take my Christmas money. Now my kids don't get Christmas gifts.
All right.
What's up, brother?
So we're going to hit a break.
Yeah.
Let's hit this break.
Let's do it.
And then, like I said, he would be my brother from another mother, only he's young enough to be my son from a different whatever. So when we return, one of my favorite guys on planet Earth right here in Tampa. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Final hour here coming to you live from Tampa last Wednesday at the Apex in Las Vegas. But what we're about to do, we couldn't have done last week because Yves Edwards was not in Las Vegas.
I couldn't be, man. Las Vegas it's a fun place. It's not my town. It's the place that I met you, though. So
Vegas is where we met?
Special place in my heart, yeah. Yeah, I think it was 33.
Well, yeah, there was only one half. It was 37 and a half.
37 and a half, that's right.
That was Chuck, I think Babalu. I think it was Chuck, I know for sure it was 37 and a half. And then a boxer that night, it's funny the things you remember. There was a boxing match at MGM and he died that night. He walked down on the street from head trauma.
Okay. I vaguely remember that, yes.
How you doing? What's new? What's going on?
Man, what's new? Nothing's new. I'm old now, so nothing is new.
Oh, okay.
Nothing is new.
How old? How young are you?
48 now.
Okay, that's not old. Just so you know. But and again, I say this with all the love, and I love you. At least I can't say to you like I do the other fighters. I've been married longer than you've been alive. So
I'm lucky about that one. But no, you gotta come by and tell all my young guys that because they make fun of me all the time. They're like, "You don't put on your gloves, man. You're too old to get in here.
You're gonna get hurt. You're so old."
Yeah, it hurts a little bit sometimes.
So tell me, I guess Adrian's your fighter? Is he from your gym? Or?
Yeah, so Adrian Yanez, man. Adrian Yanez trained with my former coach Saul Solis,
right?
And Saul,
yeah,
I was moving back home. I was planning to move back home to Texas, and then bad things happened, and through the COVID, and Saul got sick, and he passed over that, and when I got back, I just started coaching at Heritage Muay Thai, running in my MMA program there, and went to the UFC that was in town. I think I saw you there too, and
we ate.
That's right. Yeah, we ate before that. I was thinking about at the event. That's right. We went to barbecue.
Right.
That's right. Of
course.
But yeah, I ran into Adrian at the event, and Adrian ran up on me. And Saul has always been a real one. Like he's straight shooter. Like nobody shoots him straighter, And Adrian was like, "Yeah, man. I would love to train with you." I talked to Coach Saul, he's just like the only people he ever said were legit were you and Corley. So and Corley and I were together at this point. So Adrian was like, "Hey, man, we'd love to get some work in with you." And I was just like, "Yeah, let's do it." And just kind of evolved, and we built a team out of it. And now we've got Adrian Yanez, Cameron Smotherman just got his UFC shot and won his first his debut. Rafion Stotts, and then we got some young up and coming guys that are going to be fun to watch grow through this, man. So yeah, the Thug Jitsu University is where we are.
So they know that you're a fighter, but do they know how bad you were back then? The kick to the head, all that kind of stuff.
Some of the older guys.
You have to whip it out.
Sometimes I got to pull it out on the young bucks, but Cameron Smotherman, man, he's the one that he's a ball breaker, you know. And he's young and tough and smart and good, so he gives me a hard time every chance he gets. But I love that guy. He's like my adopted MMA son. You know, we get that look all the time.
But when they give you a hard time, tell them just watch Saturday night's pay-per-view or Saturday night's whatever. Just watch the opening credits. That's all you need to see. I remember I texted you as soon as I saw it the first time. How cool was it to know? And they change it all the time, but you're always in it.
Right. I feel like I don't know exactly when the modern era started, but every time I see it, I feel like there are things that are gone. I'm like, that's besides Hoist. I feel like that's the oldest thing on there. You know, I think there's the huge slam, and I don't even remember. I think that might have been the same event, but I'm not sure. No, Matt didn't fight on that event, but it's really close to that time. So there was it feels good when I see that, and of course you only see it when you're in the arena. So whenever I'm in the arena and that comes up, I watch it. I'm like, I wonder if they took it out yet. And what is it? It's 20 years later, not 21 years. So, yeah, I feel good about that, man. It's a proud moment for sure.
I know, Matt, you got something to say, but I want to ask you this in a way that if you don't want to answer, we don't do it.
Okay.
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 I'm never, I don't know, you know me, I never throw, especially you, I would never throw anybody under the bus. But I sent you a photo of something about a week ago. Do you remember the thing I sent you a photo and you came back with the greatest answer ever?
I remember. Wait. It's so again. I'm old and I got hit in the head a lot. Right.
Okay.
I remember you sending me a photo.
You're not old, but yes, you've got hit in the head of it.
And I remember it was a scorecard, and it was the other thing.
No.
Oh yeah, it was this. Yeah, that's right. What was my response?
Oh, you're okay with I said?
Yeah,
you
can.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. So it was the fight you fought Edson Berto.
Uh-huh.
And I happened to find the scorecard going through my garage.
Okay.
I'm trying to clear out, you know me, and get rid. You want me to?
Yeah.
I couldn't get rid of it. I still have it. Well, it was a 10-8 round. Only it ended. So your response was it would have been a 10-8 round if he stayed awake.
Yeah. I mean, the 8 was because he was unconscious.
Well, you saw that with Sean O'Malley at the press conference. I think it was against Algerman. I think he's like, oh, some of the judges said that you lost the first round. They go, what did they say in the second round?
Yeah,
because he ended the fight.
Exactly.
So,
he was winning. He was losing until he won.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
what one of my older co-hosts, Joe Marquis, says about Chael Sonnen. He's won every round he didn't lose.
100%. I feel like Chael may have said that himself.
Probably.
At some point.
Probably.
So you've known Randy a long time. I've known Randy a long time. This is the first time we've really got to sit down and like connect, So one thing I like to do to make Randy squirm, because that's my fun.
Well, but hold on a second. I'm going to say it before you say it. I would find it highly unlikely, and it would hurt me badly if he would do anything to make me squirm. But go ahead.
Okay, so I'm 48 as well. So I'm your age, okay? And I don't feel old. I feel 18. I mean, I do all the biohacking. I do all the preventative. And when we go to events, if we go to golf, I dress as a golfer. If we go to see John McEnroe, I brought my tennis racket and I brought my outfit. So today, I brought a mouthpiece. I got a cup. I got a UFC outfit on. I want to fight in the octagon. I want to feel what it feels like to be a pro fighter. Randy thinks there's no way, but if somebody can't make it, I'm here. What do you think?
There's no way.
No way.
There's not a single person on this event on Saturday night that I think you would survive.
What about Emily Arena? I could fight Emily Arena.
And I was going to say, I'll even throw in you can't beat red corner or blue corner.
Yeah, I have to go with Randy on this one. I'm thinking I don't even know if
not even
corners
not even a
of
chance.
the guys. Not
Okay, we played a carnival game earlier. Guess the weight. Like, what do you think my weight class would be? Like within 3 pounds. Like if this is a game show, you win these glasses if you're within 3 pounds.
You mean what do you weigh now?
Yeah,
or
what
weight you would cut
right now? Like right now, if I went
second?
into the octagon right now, ready to go.
You're probably about 178 pounds.
Okay, more importantly, let me ask you this. Put those glasses back down for a minute.
Why? You didn't win.
Put those glasses back down for a minute. Put those back. Okay, move them a little closer. All right, grab those glasses for a minute. Just grab them for a minute. You want them? Keep them. They're now yours.
Yeah, you can take them back if you want.
All right,
you can
Saturday
try
night
to take them back.
I'm ready. Put me in, coach. Let's go.
Hey, if we talk to Sean or Mick and they'll and the commission will approve it, like we could get in there, Matt.
Let's do it.
I'm down for one more.
I'll come down to 171.
All right, hold on. This is what we'll do. Okay?
Okay.
I will help you do that. after you roll and get the crap kicked out of yourself by you.
Done. Deal.
If you survive, get that.
I have my Jitsu golden egg right there. I'm ready. I got my triangle built in. Let's go.
Eve, are you available on Wednesdays to co-host this show?
Yeah, like a remote call in.
No, like I can get rid of it finally.
I'm with it. We'll change our practice hours.
Well, I'll move out there, whatever it takes. So, how much time do you now spend in the gym? With this team, is it more than being a fight? People don't realize that it takes more time and effort, to run a team, to be in a gym, to run the gym than just being the fighter.
It's so different being a coach, and yeah, you're there a lot more often because you're looking out for a bunch of different guys at the same time. Fortunately, though, like say with those guys that I mentioned, Rafael Stotts, Adrian Yanez, and Cameron Smotherman, those guys, they came up and the position they're in now, they know what it takes. So they don't take a lot of work. It's just about focusing with those guys, but it's the younger guys where we have to put in more time and get them ready. And but I do love it. It's so weird. I was talking to Adrian about this yesterday. It's like it's a feeling that I know and I love, and I would like to do it again. But as every day goes by, it's like, yeah, it just gets more and more. It's unlikely and further away from stepping back into competition. But that feeling was so much fun, and it's like, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's never going to happen again. It's one of the best feelings in the world. I remember I had an underground fight a long time ago, and I look outside the cage. I'm on top of this guy. I'm dropping down punches, and I'm just this kid coming up, and Tank Abbott is literally like 3 feet, not even 3 feet away from me, 2 feet away from me on the other side of the fence, and I'm raining down punches, and I spread my base. I'm in the mounted position, and I look over, and I'm catching my breath, and Tank goes, "Relax. It's just like sex." And I'm like, so I think about that now because it's like, it's a feeling I'm never going to have, but it's like, just imagine never being able to have sex again ever in your life. And that's like, that's kind of like how much joy I got from competing and winning.
But when you say competition, are you talking like just a jiu-jitsu tournament? Or are you talking this full MMA
experience?
Fist fight?
Yeah.
So I've done a few jiu-jitsu matches since, and they're fun, but it's not the same. It's not the same as going out there and submitting a guy when everything's on the line, or knocking a guy out when everything's on the line and walking with your hand raised. There's nothing as competitively fulfilling as that I've ever experienced, man. Yeah, I miss it. I've definitely missed it.
So would you be a fan of perhaps like weight classes like they have in bodybuilding, like like an age class, or by height or by weight? Like if you did something with guys your own age with the same years of damage and kicks to the head and such, would you feel like it would be something you would do to get back in there?
I would not be opposed to it, but
Yes.
Right now I'm just living vicariously through. I have some good guys, and these guys are they're like family now. Especially some of the names that I mentioned, some of the guys that were on here, or I didn't say their names yet, but when they win, I feel it. It's like when Dustin, when I'm there with Dustin, or even now when I'm watching on television and Dustin gets himself a win. It's I feel that, and when I'm in the arena, it's even more so. So it's the closest feeling I get is when Adrian walks away from somebody after he clips them, or Cameron gets himself, or Rafael gets himself a win. So yeah, it's still close. It's not quite the same, but I can live with that.
Earlier, Matt, you asked one of the fighters that came in about what these athletes go through to prepare for a fight.
Yeah.
I don't remember much.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
cold
days,
tub, sauna, red light.
I don't remember any of that. But I do remember at Mandalay Bay, this will stick with me until the day I die. I go to grab something to eat. It's a long table, and I'm sitting one or two away from Yves, and he falls asleep while he's eating, which is a combination of everything. It's a combination of the fight, the exhaustion.
Sure.
And people don't realize all of that. All they realize is you in the cage, you fighting for that 15 minutes or 25 minutes or whatever it was. But when I looked over to say something to you and you were sound asleep, it sticks with me in the back of my head forever.
But that is a thing. But even to this day, I can sleep anywhere.
Oh, so can I.
Yeah, like now it's kind of like the age and the narcolepsy or whatever. But like I can sleep anywhere. I've fallen asleep in clubs, nightclubs at times. But yeah, no, it's exhausting, man. Especially fight week, and just being able to rest your body and get prepared to bounce back and go at it hard, like it's worth it all in the end, for sure.
I went to a couple events in Vegas last week. So I went to a hockey game. I flew in that day. I got up at 4 a.m. I flew to Vegas, all that kind of stuff. And I was standing up in the top. I don't know if you've been to a Knights game, but there's like an area up there with some food and whatever. And I'm getting tired. I've already eaten. So I went. I picked a seat. I don't believe this. It's like, do you snore? Well, I've never heard me snore. So no, I don't snore, but you snore, right? So according to Greg Hendrick, if you remember Greg Hendrick, he said after the 5th time that you laid your head on the lady's shoulder, that you were sound asleep. I moved over. Well, I don't really believe that, but I've gone to Jabberwockies.
Yeah.
Fell asleep.
Okay.
It's pretty loud.
So,
to fall asleep.
That's crazy.
Here's a pro tip, though. If you go with Randy to a UFC fight, let's say Madison Square Garden, and you fall asleep in the Uber on the way to the airport, he pays. Free rides.
I'm with it. But I mean, you know what? I'm gonna have to pay for Randy's ride, even if he falls asleep, man. Randy's taking me into some pretty fun events and so I had some good times with Randy, man. I'm not even a baseball fan, but I enjoyed the All-Star game when it was in Houston. He asked me if I wanted to come down to the All-Star game, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. That was a great time. And then even bigger and better than that, Super Bowl. Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. That thing was that was one of the best games, and it was a whole lot of fun, man. I appreciate that, Randy. Yeah. And getting on the field afterward, I remember thinking, man, these guys are huge. Yeah. These guys are huge. I'd seen football players before, but like when they're fully padded up and everything too, like Vrabel and Willie McGinnis are standing right there, and I'm just like, these guys are bigger than heavyweights. This is ridiculous.
I watched a game. I don't know if it was the Monday night game. I think the lineman was like 6'7". Like, what? Yeah. I mean, we've been there. We've seen them. I mean, I've seen 6'5", 6'7", 6'8". Can you imagine a hockey player and their arms that are like 6'5", 6'6", and then on skates?
Yeah. Pete Worrell was an enforcer. He was like 6'7".
It's crazy.
6'10" with skates on.
Human beings aren't supposed to be that big, but whatever.
And that mobile and that fast. I mean, speed kills, and they're moving that kind of mass.
Yeah. That's like a truck hitting you.
Yeah.
How different is MMA, the UFC today than back in the day, when we met? I mean, it's different in many aspects, but what's the first one or two that come to mind for you?
Man, the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is just the volume of quality guys out there, Of course, in my day, the sport wasn't as big, and so the amount of people that could compete at this level, it didn't exist like it does today. So now seeing this, I mean, even with that being said, there are some guys at this level, and I'm just like, ooh, man, if I was 35, you could get it. But there are some guys that I see, and I'm just, I'm 48. I'm good. So, but I mean, it's still, that's also, I'm sure a lot of that is still in my head, just because of the level that I was able to compete at. But just the volume of quality guys and quality players. Last night we were working out, and there was this young man, I don't remember which one it was, but it was
Red Corner.
Yoel Alvarez. And he was working out, and I was just like, that kid is like 6'2" or something, man. I had 150. I was like, that's a 55er. And he's like 6'2", and he's like tall, long. Yeah, he's thin, but like that range that he has, and it's just like, we didn't have as much of that in my day as we do now. So just guys are bigger now, the variety and the skill level. It's fun to watch, man. It's super competitive, seeing these guys come up, knowing the sport. And then that's the other thing. Like martial arts, there's so many disciplines of martial arts, but mixed martial arts now, it's a discipline of martial art. It has different styles within it. Like there's a bunch of different kung fu styles. There's a bunch of different karate styles. Well, there are a bunch of different mixed martial arts styles now. And mixed martial arts is its own discipline. And the different styles that have evolved throughout the sport, man. Just being able to see all of that come together and how guys mix it up. It's so different, and the sport is way beyond what I thought I would see in my lifetime. So I'm appreciative that I've been able to stick around long enough to see it and still be a part of it too.
Have you ever, because a lot of times athletes or fighters like, no, my time was my time. Have you ever thought, if I was in it now, if I was 26 now, if
100%. I mean, I guarantee you when Dr. J looks at like LeBron James now, and it's not necessarily even watching LeBron play, but like just knowing what LeBron is getting paid, like compared to what Dr. J got in the early 80s and 70s. Like that's a huge thing. And it's like, man, but then you recognize, like this. If this is a house, I look at it like this. This sport is a house, and I built some of these rooms.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like these guys, I was a part of getting it to where it is today, and I'm appreciative of that. That's a big deal to me.
What I found funny is, as I was thinking that, I'm thinking Topps trading cards, and Yves is thinking money.
Yeah, I mean, because like, yeah, you can hold on to those trading cards forever, but like that money's nice.
No, for sure.
Money's nice.
So like we're old, but we're still young enough to know like what giving your flowers are, right? Like,
Yeah.
So Randy, I started doing years ago, giving him his props like live. Dana did it, called him the OG of the UFC, rightfully so.
I had to ask him after when Dana left, what does OG mean?
He thought it's that old guy.
I had no idea.
But recently, Randy was recognized for his dedication to the sport
Let's
by
go.
Hall of Fame status for the Florida Mixed Martial Arts Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
So congratulations to the OG,
Let's go, Randy.
Randy
My
Harris.
man.
Because
For
look,
sure.
this weekend here, Randy was one of the first guys that I knew that was promoting MMA
100%.
and was bringing it to NFL locker rooms and incorporating Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture into other sports and then getting to know the personality behind the fighter. And so he's been doing it since number one. And here we are in our hometown celebrating the UFC arrival this week. It's a big deal. And Randy, you built rooms in that house as well. So congrats to both of you guys. OGs, I'm proud to know both of you. And this is an amazing sport.
As I asked you about back in the day, one of the things that hurts me, Ryan Bennett.
Bro,
able to
that's
see this.
exactly what I was thinking. I was literally
Mask.
thinking about him right now because if Ryan was still here, like I could just imagine what you and Ryan would be doing. And like, man, Ryan was the man. That's crazy.
I met his widow not too long ago for the first time.
Yeah.
We all helped raise all that kind of money back in the day. And when we went out, the UFC or Bare Knuckle was out there. I don't remember which. And we went to dinner and hung out a little bit, which was cool. And, she thanked me, which she didn't need to do. It was you guys that did everything. But it's one of the, it's life. I mean, things happen and, you move on. But I think about Ryan a lot.
Yeah.
And, Ryan did as much, if not more, than what everybody thinks I did.
100%.
But, he was big at, bringing it in when nobody cared. He was on FCC, as a sports director and brought Chuck in all the time. And,
100%. Man, for those of you who don't know, newer fans of the sport, if you don't know Ryan Bennett, if you know who Chris Berman is, or if you take John Anik and multiply that by like 1,000, and only because Bennett was in from the beginning, but Anik is, I would put Anik at the top of the MMA broadcast field, and like Bennett was the guy who would have been that guy, but just been in it for the entirety of the sport.
We believe, and we don't know this to be true, but he did work for the UFC, and he would go in and do interviews, and we think that he got let go because he was too good looking. Seriously, he was a good looking dude, and then he goes in and interviews after a fight and blood all over and ugliness and whatever, and just a good guy. And he also helped when nobody wanted to cover the sport.
Yeah, man. Ryan was a quality broadcaster too. Like he could have done any sport, and I'm sure he did other sports. I know he did other sports. I don't remember exactly if it was baseball or football, but I know he did other sports.
He did other sports because he was the sports director at a TV station.
Yes.
So he did all that, and then he left that and he went to the Fight Network. And he was going to be the Burt Sugar of MMA.
Yeah.
And then the accident happened the following year, and it's a shame. And it's. If anybody deserves to be in, the UFC Hall of Fame, I think he is one because,
Definitely.
he helped get this off the ground.
I can only imagine what his body of work would look like now if he was
crazy.
still here.
And the difference between his body of work and my body of work is he would have documented his.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't keep anything. I wished I had some interviews and stuff. I'd never thought of that stuff. Yeah. But he was the professional, and he would keep everything and all that kind of stuff. Well, let's hit the bottom of the hour, Yves, as always. Love seeing you, dude.
Always.
If you have time, let's grab some food. There's a great charity event tomorrow night if you want to go to it. Some food, some all sorts of stuff. We'll talk about it.
My man.
Pick you up. I'll bring you out to it. We'll have a good time.
Let's go.
All right, let's go hit a break. When we come back, Miranda Maverick here. So UFC in town. Nothing could be better. We'll be right back. All right, we are back coming to you live from the hotel here again, and I'm still not saying where because I don't want to get in trouble in case it's top secret classified information. But the UFC, it's been a while since they've been back in our town in the Tampa Bay area. And let's welcome to the program Miranda Maverick. Miranda, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Have you been to Tampa before?
I have been to Tampa before. In fact, when I was young, I lived in Dade City, Florida for about a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
So being back in the warm is definitely inviting. I came from like 2 degrees out there in Denver and flew out here. So I'm happy for the warmth and humidity.
So there you have some Denver connections.
Yeah.
And now we can call this a home fight for you.
Yeah, there we go. I guess you'd say that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dade City's just up the street.
Well, and Dade City is known for like the rugged, tough mudders and like a lot of farmlands. They turn them into these obstacle courses. Have you ever done one of those in
No,
Dade
I
City?
was pretty young. I was like 9 years old, and I remember just being there. We had some orange groves on our property. As my favorite memories are going out and picking the white grapefruits and the oranges and having them as breakfast before I got on the school bus.
So is that what led to the pickle company? Like, is that how you got into like agriculture? Like,
so I have a big background of moving around the U.S.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
My entire youth pretty much, and everywhere we went was rural properties and growing up on a ranch on a farm, and we homesteaded most of our food, like everything from milk cows to our own chickens. Like we barely went to the grocery store, and so I learned to can at a very young age. That's kind of what started with the pickles, and then the honey was an accident. We were cutting down a tree for firewood, and there happened to be bees in them, like wild honeybees, and so bought a hive to put them in to help them, survive, and it just kind of started a passion. I love it, and we all love honey in my family, and so now I have several hives and continuously growing, and the pickle business is starting to take off and hopefully getting more and more. So prowlerpickles.com if anybody wants to see it.
so I'm gonna do a timeout because this is where Randy would change subjects and shift gears on me because we're talking about nutrition and fitness.
I was going to talk about the pig farm in Damnick,
but I'm talking
we'll
about pickles and for like the dura lining of the brain for like headaches and drinking
Very
pickle
healthy.
juice.
Yep.
Right,
Electrolytes. It's great for like ultra runners and stuff too.
Yeah.
When they go to pick up those drinks that they're doing on the races, it's usually pickle juice, right? And people have like frozen pickle shots and stuff that people have when they're in track and field. So I sell pickle juice as well on there. And
parasite cleanse for the gut microbiome, plus honey is medicinal properties, and they found it in tombs
natural probiotics, natural antioxidants.
and You're speaking my language. That's my frequency, Randy. So now go ahead. Let's let Randy catch up.
I just like eating honey. I don't care
And
what
pickles.
That's fine too,
Right.
That's fine too. But I will say you always want to get the raw, unfiltered honey. Don't get the store-bought stuff that's already been cooked and stuff, because then all that natural, good stuff of honey goes away and you're just literally eating flavored sugar.
I feel like
Preach.
I'm talking. Now,
Louder for the people in the back, please.
Here's the difference, just so you'll get to know us. I don't listen to anything this guy says. Okay? He's been my co-host for 10 years.
Okay.
I've fired him 4 times.
Oh, no.
He refuses to leave.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with him. So no matter what he says, I don't believe. But you can talk me into anything.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Just know I'm the credible one. So we'll ignore him,
Yeah.
and I'll
Perfect.
just talk right to you and just revoice what he's saying if it's right, okay?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. So I want honey and I want to eat more pickles.
Yes.
but
Or
Miranda-
pickles, especially natural pickles. When you go pick up Vlasic or something like that from the store, I don't want to defame them or anything here, but they're going to be using huge tubs of vats with chemicals and stuff in them. Like you want to find a natural producer like my own, Prowler Pickles, like that you go and just put natural ingredients in and don't have to worry about chemicals and dyes and stuff like that. Instead, these have like natural probiotics. I ferment a lot of them naturally too, so it's just very great and healthy for you with those electrolytes.
I follow you on Facebook.
Yeah,
I
there
know
you
all
go.
the stuff you do. So
And
I've
Randy's
seen
down.
your honor
Randy's down
strikes.
about 30 pounds. Like
Oh,
so,
wow.
this
Well,
year he's dropped down
congratulations.
191 a few days ago. So we're very proud of Randy.
All right.
Silver Sneaker Award winner, Hall of Famer.
All right.
So-
Amazing. Well,
My daughter got
congratulations.
married, so I had to look good
Hey,
in the
there
picture.
you go. That's how my dad does for my fights. He always diets beforehand. He's been laughing about it
Really?
this week because my brother's actually cornering me for the first time ever, giving him a little opportunity in the limelight. And so I've been tormenting him. I'm like, you better have a 6-pack when you show up. Show up cornering me. My dad always diets for it, so you better too. So he's been on the health train as well with me.
The difference would be if somebody says you better have a 6-pack, I would have a 6-pack of Diet Cokes. I bring them in my car.
At least they're diet.
Yeah, no,
At
I
least
drink
they're
Diet
diet.
Cokes like it's going out of style.
It's awesome. No, look, I'm into the biohacking. I love the natural. I do all the flushes and the
That's
aluminum
awesome.
out of
Okay.
my deodorant, all
Yeah,
that.
my husband's big into biohacking and all that stuff. And
Love
helps people with all their injury prevention.
So how much
I'm
of
gonna
that
have
is
to listen to this
so-
stuff and believe it now. At
Yeah,
least I can believe
right?
it now.
so how much of the biohacking, obviously Dana White and Gary Brecka and his relationship, how much of the biohacking is making it into the UFC?
Dana and them don't get tested for drugs, we do. So we don't get to exactly experiment like they do. I keep it very clean and like straight edge just because I am so worried about any contamination or anything anything, because I do get tested a lot more, I feel like, than a lot of females. I'm very muscular anyway, genetically. If you guys see my family, like, we've all been very muscular, even from my youth. So I'm very like,
Those guys, everybody with you is all,
exactly.
everybody with you is muscular. I'm like,
Exactly. So I'm very careful.
it's the pickles, right?
Right.
It's the pickles.
It's that pickle juice.
The prowling pickles, baby.
So for me, I just kind of stay away from a lot of it, even stuff that is healthier, for you. Like, I stay away from most protein shakes, all that, just because I'm like, I don't want anything to ever get blamed my way. Like, I worked so hard to get to where I'm at in the career. No sense in like having a protein shake and end up popping me for something. So I just stick with, like you said, like literally the pickle juice and beef and rice and chicken, and try to stick with just healthy raw ingredients that everybody in this world should be eating instead of processed food.
Which is your biggest passion? Is it fighting? Is it the pickling? Is it, I know you're a drawer as well.
Man, it's hard to say. I share a lot of passions. I say that purpose and passion go hand in hand. And for me, I have a lot of different purposes in life right now. I would say ultimately my passion lies with whatever my family is focused on. And right now my fighting is helping them. Right now my fighting is paying off the most as far as success, but I need backups. I'm going to get hurt or old one of these days. Hopefully old comes first,
Right.
And I want to have a backup. And that means that I have to have some other way of making a living. I don't want to be some assistant coach at a gym when I retire and just be making minimum wage like a 18-year-old kid in the gym, and not to crap on any fighters who do that, but I'm trying to have a different career in my future.
Yeah.
So I have my career with Hershey that I'm doing as a statistician. I have my businesses that I'm doing with pickles and with honey, and just trying to have my hands in a lot of things so that something takes off and I can pass those things on to my family as well, right? They can make a success with those things and I can move on to another thing. And that's kind of my dream, is to be able to start so many things that my family ends up benefiting from that, including my own family and my future children.
It's called thinking ahead.
Yes,
planning
exactly,
ahead.
Exactly.
Marcus Jones, I don't know if you know the name, used to be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first round draft pick, fought for the UFC, was on the Ultimate Fighter. And he would always tell me, I don't like football. I'm just good at it.
Yep.
That's
not the same with fighting, for sure. I enjoy it very much so, but I do joke with people that I would be doing jujitsu if it paid as much as fighting did. I don't exactly get carried away with being punched in the face all the time. But again, I'm good at it and I do really enjoy it because of that. If I was bad at it, I definitely wouldn't enjoy it as much. Getting beat up for a living isn't exactly my cup of tea.
Sure.
But I do remember, like in high school, I did track and field. I hated running, hated it so much, but I was pretty decent at it and thought, okay, if I can get a college scholarship with this, I'll keep doing it and force myself. And when jiu-jitsu came into the picture, I was like, screw that. No more running for me. I'm going to go into this grappling field. And that's kind of how MMA took off for me.
How will you get through the next couple of days? I always ask the fighters, do you like to not think about Saturday? That's the job at task, but think about Friday? Or are you thinking about it nonstop?
I'm a goal person, and the goal is to win that fight, So every step I take from here between now and then is to win that fight. So I think about it constantly. I envision it. I see like every move she's going to do. What am I going to do in response? And this is part of the job. This is the miserable part of the job, the weight cut portion. And every bite of food that I take, every sip of water I take gets me to that win. So that's all I'm thinking about. I don't ignore it at all. It's right there in front of me. The more I think about it, the more like fired up I get to beat up this person making me suffer.
Which would be, I call Christmas. Christmas is Saturday, even though it's really next week.
Right.
I call fight day Christmas.
Yeah, it might as well be, right? Because my family is one of those families like Thanksgiving, Christmas. We're kind of putting it all off until after my fight for me. So it is Christmas in my family sense.
So Randy hates when I talk about me, but if it's fitting in this moment. So I was a natural bodybuilder. I won Mr. Universe, eating nothing but pizza. I used natural ingredients. But
hold on.
He
rode
story.
a bicycle from Tampa, Florida
here
to New York City.
All the way.
Wow.
I don't care what you eat. You're going to lose weight. You're going to look like you worked out. You rode a bicycle.
But the point is that they say if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And in natural bodybuilding, if you declare that you're taking hormone replacement, not enhancement, you can still compete as a natural bodybuilder. So I took great pride in beating people that were cheating deliberately.
Yeah.
And I still smashed them at 41 years old to become the champ.
Mm-hmm.
So do you take extra pride if you do feel like an opponent might have doing something that you're not doing, not suffering as much as you're suffering, and you beat them anyway? Do you love that?
I mean, I don't even know if it's that aspect, but like in the past, there's been organizations I'm in where they were allowed to take stuff like that, like enhancement drugs. And I knew sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, obviously pencil veins aren't exactly natural on women, right? And it was like, I don't know if I take extra pride in it. At the end of the day, this is a skill-based sport. And I'd hope I could compete with the best no matter what they were doing or putting into their system.
That's a great mindset.
Thank
It's
you.
a great mindset.
But at the same time, it's like, man, they're doing whatever they can. You know, if you're not cheating, you aren't trying. There's still a respect aspect of the sport. I've had opponents before. I won't say who on this one, but I had one that cheated about 15 times in the middle of one fight, and I was very mad by the end of it, and I can't believe she's still in the UFC, to be honest, after all the cheating she does. But it was one of those where it's not like, oh, I'm extra happy with that win. It was just like, I'm extra happy the way I won. I mauled her and made her suffer a little bit. And it's like, you don't cheat in this sport. This is a respect-based thing. This is a sportsman-like thing. And I'm blessed to be here, blessed to be able to show my potential in it. But cheating's something I don't agree with.
Let me ask you this. I've asked all the other fighters. I'm a judge here in the state of Florida as well, so it bothers me. I hate warnings.
Mm-hmm.
I hate stern warnings. I don't really know what a stern warning is. Is that more than 2 warnings?
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on warnings. I mean, should be an automatic point if it's a foul?
I'm not so much on automatic. I think 1 warning, but not 1 warning per different foul.
Right.
I think it should be 1 warning, like let's say it's poking, and it's like, hey, your fingers are out. Before an eye poke even happens, keep your fist closed, because they'll say that a lot. And then the first time they poke, it's like, oh, we'll give them a warning now. I'm like, no. That first time you said keep your fist closed should have been the 1 warning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I somehow in my entire career have accidentally cheated 1 time, and it was my first ever fight, and I like grabbed the cage on the way down, and I still literally let go and fell down because I was like, she probably would have had it, right? And then I won the fight. And it's like, as somebody who knows you cheated, like get your shit together, right? And it's like, don't keep cheating. You keep cheating,
Right.
Boom. It should be a point taken away immediately, in my opinion. 1 warning. If the warning is after somebody elbows, I'm sure no warning at all, right? But if it's something where it's like your finger was open a little and poke or something like that, or a kick to the crotch, but after 1 warning or 1 time it happening, boom, point taken. This 2 warning stuff is nonsense. A lot of fighters are getting hurt. There's a lot of no contest as a result of it. People want to argue the gloves and they want to argue the clothes and all this crap. Nonsense. It's the person and what they decide to do. Their coaches obviously aren't keeping them strict in the training gym, or they themselves are doing it intentionally. And one way or another, it shouldn't be allowed.
And I believe if you know there's a warning and you know there's a stern warning after the warning, they're going to do it.
Yeah, why not just take the 3, right?
Exactly.
It's like basketball. It's like, oh, you fouled, you tech fouled. And it's like, no, like how about if they did it intentionally, done, you're out.
I now believe you on honey. I now believe you on pickles. I'm team Miranda for sure.
Thank you.
Talk about the fight itself on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited, but also a little going into this with a little aggravation, a little chip on my shoulder, so to speak. The whole Tracy dropout, not getting to fight a ranked opponent. I've been at the top 15 ranking pretty much my entire career in the UFC. My second fight in, I was ranked number 15. Then I drop out of it. Then I come back. Then I'm number 14. Then I'm 15. Then I'm out again. And now this time was a chance. Well, last fight I should say was a chance when I was supposed to fight Tracy to move up the ladder since she's higher ranked. And then she got pulled up to fight Rose. We didn't think she was going to make it to fight me in the first place, but she ended up getting pulled to fight Rose. I fight somebody else on short notice who's not ranked. So be it. Get paid the same, right? Go in there, do my shit. Now this time it's like, oh, we're giving it an 80% chance she drops out. I've been talking about it the whole time. We see her about 6 weeks out. It was a week before she actually dropped out, and it was like, man, she's looking thick. She's got on fingernails that are 3 inches long. Like, I don't know if she's going to be showing up to this fight, right? Like, there's no way that she's in at least fight shape to be fighting me. I was so confident going into this one. And then we hear she drops out, and I wasn't even surprised. When I get a call from my manager, I'm always like, text me first unless it's bad, right? And I always know. And it's like, I answer the phone. I'm like, uh-oh. And he's like, yep. She dropped out, and it was like, shit. I knew
Ship.
it.
She said ship.
So,
she said ship. S-H-I-P.
Of course. And so then we're calling around. We ask a couple others. Nobody in the top 15 wants to fight. Either they're hurt, they're wanting to retire, which means they shouldn't be in the rankings anyway, in my opinion. Or they are just already booked, which, okay, that one's fair, right? We aren't going to count that against them. Or they just don't want to fight me. And I know at least 2 of them don't want to fight me and have said no now multiple times. And it's very frustrating when I'm like, I need a fight. And they can't say it was too short notice because it was 5 weeks out. Most of my fight camps aren't even close to that long, right? And so finally, I give a lot of respect to Jamie Hoare for stepping up, taking the fight, I already messaged her and was like, hey, thanks so much for taking this fight. Let's dance. Let's put on a good show for everybody. And she was very respectful back. And although it's not a ranked opponent and not what I want to happen, still get to fight, still get to make some money. But man, on this next fight, I need a ranked opponent. You know, I'm going to call out somebody. We're going to have to fight somebody that's higher up in the rankings. I want to get in that top 10 sites within this next year easy. If I only fight 3 times, I better get to it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the rankings.
Yeah,
and the people that do them. You know, so I was part of that at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you know this. I've covered the UFC longer than anyone in the world.
Okay.
Started at UFC 1
Wow.
and still alive to still cover it.
All
So
right.
nobody else has done that. I was involved with the rankings. And then
Wow.
whoever determined, no, we only want straight MMA media.
Mm.
I'm like, I pretty much know almost as much, if not as much as any.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of them do the rankings by who they like, their favorites, they're this, they're that.
That's obvious.
And it's just awful. What can the fans expect when you walk down the walkway at Emily Arena here in Tampa?
Listen, or at least a few minutes after the walkout part, you know, I'm going to get in there and kind of put a stamp on why I need a ranked opponent, why I deserve nothing less. I thought I did that last time, but here we are again, you know. So go in there, put on another dominant show, get a finish as quick as I see it. And, you know, appreciate Jamie for stepping in, but unfortunately going to add another loss to her record.
Where can people get information on the pickles and the honey? Because I jumped on the Facebook, but for some reason I changed the password. Austin, I need my password back. How can we order some of this stuff?
prowlerpickles.com. I have my honey and pickles on there, so you can go to both shops, check it out. I'll be delivering stuff as soon as I get back home. So you guys go on there, order. I've got everything from pickles to Bloody Mary mixes to honey to beeswax candles, flavored honey, all kinds of different stuff, all natural, produced by me alone. This isn't a big company, not a big team. So I always tell everybody, because last fight I had people messaging me 2 days after they ordered, like, hey, why haven't I gotten my shipping confirmation? I'm like, dude, I just got home last night.
Right.
I'm like, this is a one woman operation, right? So prowlerpickles.com. And then if you guys want any Fear the Maverick merch, to check out my site, fearthemaverick.com. So my own nickname, fearthemaverick.com. I've got like anything from t-shirts, hats, autographed pictures, all that stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Miranda, before we let you go, you know, you're what's right with the UFC. I mean, it's a career, but you're looking long term, and just the different irons in the fire and which one catches on.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to live life, and you're a rock star. My daughters will certainly look up to you and the rest of the females in the division, and good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you very
Good
much.
stuff. We're
Appreciate
going to
it.
get your address. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man
Oh,
Strong,
thank you.
as well as Bucked Up Energy Drink. And
I like both those.
I'm
so
going to
awesome.
send you one of these cool fantasy pets
Ooh,
as well.
okay,
So
all right.
it's good stuff. All right, let's go ahead to our final break of the afternoon, coming to you live from this undisclosed location here in Tampa, hanging out with the UFC. We'll be right back. Only 10 more minutes of you.
Man, it feels good. It feels like a paradigm shift from like the legendary UFC days when it was all about brutality and just intensity and like chaos and just crazy Colby Covington on the card. But as you know, the biohackers and the longevity guys are making their way. And I feel like the conversation is going more to this side of the table than to the legendary OG side of the table. How do you feel, Randy?
I don't know. I wasn't listening to you.
Are you excited about pickles? Are you going to start eating pickles now? It's a great health benefit.
I do like the honey. I'm going to try Miranda's honey. We just
Awesome.
talked about it. She's going to send me some, so I'm going to attempt it. I may send somebody a bottle just so. Never mind.
Oh, I mean, the guy's been waiting for honey for a long time. He's been.
But I do eat pickles. I like pickles, but I don't necessarily eat them a lot. My wife does.
Mhm.
But if it's better to do and eat, you know, obviously, if we're spending money on pickles, I'd rather buy them from her.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
to help support her and
course.
such. So I'm excited. We were supposed to have Miranda on a couple times.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the first time we've talked. And
I think we
Incredible.
did have her one. I think
incredible. And I like that she's other interests, because I've said this all the time. Same with NFL guys.
Yeah.
What do NFL players do once they retire? They coach.
at a high school
What
level
else are
or
they gonna
college
do?
level, right?
You know, unless they were fortunate enough to make enough money that they don't have to.
Or they get into broadcasting and they can, you know, like the Tom Brady's.
But the guys that get into broadcasting don't need to.
Right.
The guys that
Right.
get brought in, you
Sure.
know, they're qualified. They become qualified. They're good at it. Tom Brady doesn't need the money.
Right.
You know, none of those guys need the money. but they're good at it. And it's a shame that the guys that could, it's kind of like, the guys that should get a better pension clip of the NFL don't need it like the ones who get it. And the ones who get it are the ones that made the most money.
Yeah. Sure.
Now they earned it. They deserve it. But, the Tom Brady doesn't need the pension that Ernest Graham needs.
Right.
Vice versa. So I've always said it. I'm excited to hear all of her other passions.
Yeah.
Because she is set up to walk away. She doesn't have, how many of these fighters that don't get to the elite top 3 of this bogus rankings, they fight because they have to.
Right.
What else are they going to do?
Sure.
Now, she has so many other irons in the fire. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear it, and hopefully we can get involved with her and her companies, and we're going to promote it. And
it's awesome.
When you sent the bottle, or you had your buddy send the bottle to me of honey, I love putting the honey on chicken and everything I eat.
Yeah. It's a great natural source of carbohydrates. So.
But according to her, now that I'm learning some things, not
sugar,
because of you,
not flavor.
I'm not learning from you, but according to what she said, it's better to eat certain honey than others.
Yeah.
So I'm going to attempt to eat hers.
Very good.
On my chicken and on my hot dogs. And on my
So I wasn't really paying attention to the show, but maybe Austin can go back. But do I have a fight Saturday? Am I fighting Yves Edwards? We're both the same age. I mean, I'll come down and wait. I'll meet him wherever. 171, he said?
I am sad to see that this will be your last show. And not because you're going to get beat up on Saturday. Just I throw you a bone. I run that damn me commercial.
I know.
Then you
it's
literally
hilarious.
won.
I mean, hearing myself do that commercial makes me laugh.
Well, hopefully it makes you hear how stupid it sounds.
But I like the fact that it's stupid. I like the fact that it makes you think. It's like, what? I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, oh, that's me.
You want to look at the card? The whole reason we're here? All right. Once again, we do have one more pair of UFC tickets to give away. We have one more pair of Power of Giving tickets to give away, the charity event tomorrow. All you have to do to register, go to the website, knockoutradio.com. There's a contact link. Hit the contact and just say, I want to register. Of course, be smarter than most and tell me which you are registering for. I told somebody I would send them something. They gave me an address.
Okay.
No name.
Just send it.
No size.
Okay.
No nothing. Just, here's my address. Okay, appreciate it. I'm going to mail it that way.
Well, I'm going to send you my address and my name, or I could just take my Christmas gift with me, because this guy.
You got to like that, huh?
Come on, bro. Like, I got to get one of these.
FantasyPets.com.
Can you hook a brother up?
No.
Come on, it's for Christmas and Hanukkah.
No.
I get 7 gifts during your little
First
holiday.
of all, you're getting one gift, and that's that I'm allowing you to tag along with me to Philadelphia.
Come on, I kept the Dave Portnoy one bite, Christmas ornament that you said that if you gave it to you, I could never get rid of it, never throw it away. I kept it.
How would I even know that you?
I have it on my desk, and I'll send you a photo of it.
I don't want a photo of anything you own or you in it.
Can I have this, though?
No.
Bro, it's my color scheme.
It's zero chance. So why don't you at least describe it to everybody what it is?
It's a 3-dimensional dragon. It's got these gold and purple, like...
You can see it at fantasypets.com. Now,
it changes color every time you look at it. It's like candy paint on a Cadillac. It's that old school paint job. Like when some of it's gold, some of it's purple, but it's got like that royal purple color. Like that purple rain. It's so badass. These things are sweet.
I hope fantasypets.com is okay. I forgot to give all the other things away that I brought. I brought some gift certificates. I brought some sunglasses to give away. I totally forgot. Roastedwhisk.com.
Oh, nice.
We brought some of those to give away. I had some shades to give away, but I wanted Yves to take those glasses.
Yeah, you want to give them to him?
I just wanted to piss you off.
I'll fight him for him. A winner keeps them. Bruh, give me a chance. At least a puncher shot. One shot. Give me one shot.
So you want him to tie both hands behind his back?
Bruh, he's 48. You heard him. He's on the way down. I'm on the way up.
Yep, he's on the way down, so that means that it would take 45 seconds. Where normally it would take.
You think I'm not capable? You think I can't survive in any of these? None of these people. Not anyone. You'll give me a chance to win. Not one.
None.
Damn.
Not win, dude. You won't get out of the first round. And the only way you would get out of the first round is if you ran the whole time and they fell, hit their head, and they had to take a.
Why do you think I'm so like incapable of violence? Why? Because I'm a lover. Because I'm a mental health counselor. Because I'm a professional bodybuilder.
No, I mean you can beat up your pizza staff.
I mean, I'm undefeated in pizza shop.
Yeah, I understand.
And they had knives and they're on OxyContin. I mean, I'm undefeated.
I appreciate all you've done for the show.
I've never lost a round that I didn't win.
I just think it's time for me to get a more knowledgeable expert.
Like who?
I don't know. Maybe that dragon.
That dragon's pretty. No, he looks knowledgeable.
You still haven't described how big it is.
Oh, it's
4 feet.
Yeah, probably 4 foot. Like stretch straight. Yeah, it's 4 foot. I mean, it's
when they sent it to me, they called it the Shack of Dragons.
It's incredible.
Well, you'll be able to see it. You know, we've got the videos. They'll be up on YouTube.
It'll look great in my garage.
Well, we'll send you a photo of it, and I'll sign the photo.
Come on.
And the photo will say, "This is my dragon."
Can you put this in the Knockout Radio will that I get this dragon and the microphone to the show?
No.
Come on. Who else is going to take over?
Do you want to give picks? We got 2 minutes left.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to give any
Yeah,
picks?
main event.
Right.
Covington, Buckley.
Who are you taking?
I'm going to go with Buckley.
Yeah, all the experts, everybody's
I think he's hungry.
Buckley's favorite.
I think he's hungry.
Well, it's not. I think Covington's hungry as well.
Yeah, you think?
I think he's that type of fighter, but Buckley is he's the real deal. I love that
Swanson Quarantillo.
I love that Covington's on the card, even though we haven't seen a lot. Now, granted, we were up here when he did his media thing. There is no press conference tomorrow, which I think kind of isn't good.
Hurts.
Well,
the fanfare.
Well, the fanfare will be there on Saturday.
Yeah,
it's a sold-out arena.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be top flight. Can't wait. But, anytime, I still have the Colby Covington video of him screaming at Kamaru Usman, who will be on the show here very shortly. We've been in contact about a few things. That's Colby. You want Colby being vocal, saying the things that he's saying.
Yeah. All right, Swanson Quarantillo. The 2 L's make a Y in Spanish. We can get Fabiano back on and have him translate for this.
Yeah, we could. We got 40 seconds left.
I wish he would do a liner. I was going to have him say in Portuguese, "You're listening to Knockout Radio with the OG of the UFC, Randy Harris," but in Portuguese.
I'll get him to do it.
All right, that's what we got to do.
Austin and I are going to the media room, so we'll get it done.
Because Misha Tate, she did the one a couple weeks ago here at the convention center.
We are out of time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody that's joining us on the YouTube channel, Knockout Radio, on YouTube, on Twitter, on all that kind of stuff, all of our guests. You have until tomorrow to register, knockoutradio.com. Register for the Power of Giving tickets, register for the golf tickets, register for the UFC tickets. Until then, see everybody next week for our last show of the year, next Wednesday. See everybody.